for 2 months without remuneration. He's told 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa this morning that he didn't step aside because of money issues.
Were you worried that you wouldn't be appropriately remunerated?
No, not at all. And maybe let me explain again. Taking up such a task is an act of service. I mean, I have no doubt other evidence leaders took a huge pay cut. But speaking for myself, I took a huge one. But I was conscious of the fact that this is a different task. I call these matters love for country matters, where it's not about remuneration.
The NPA has lauded prosecutors after a landmark testimony of a 4-year-old girl led to the conviction and sentencing of a rapist. The child is the youngest victim to give a successful testimony in a rape case in South Africa's history, and as a result, 55-year-old Ian Hoggins was handed a life sentence in George last week. Carlo Peterson reports.
NPA spokesperson Eric Ntabazalila says the 4-year-old victim testified for 4 consecutive days in Thembalethu Regional Court.
This necessitated a lot of patience and King Solomon's wisdom on the part of Advocate Gerda Marx as the victim grew tired and had a short attention span.
Ntabazalila says prosecutors used dolls for the little girl to show the court what happened to her.
Advocate Marx had to request the court to take breaks to ensure that the victim did not lose focus and was able to respond during her testimony and the rigorous cross-examination that followed.
Convicted rapist Ian Hoggins was sentenced to life imprisonment for rape, 5 years for sexual assault, and 8 years for illegal possession of child pornographic images. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
The Departments of Education and Labour have announced a delay in the payment of September stipends for some education assistants. This delay has affected those employed at schools that are not directly funded through National Treasury allocations. The department says there are challenges with verifications and submissions of required documents from the schools to the funder. Tandoluhle Ngobo reports.
Both the Basic Education, Employment and Labour departments have clarified that the payment delays does not impact assistants whose schools are funded directly by the National Treasury. The departments say urgent measures are being taken to resolve the documentation issues, and affected assistants can expect their payments in due course. District and provincial teams have been deployed to assist with specific queries, and the departments reaffirmed their commitment to ensuring all assistants are paid without further delay. Tandoluhle Ngobo, Eyewitness News.
And Speaker of the United Kingdom's House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle, has made an impassioned plea for peace to be restored in the Middle East. Hoyle says is in South Africa to attend the G20 meeting of parliamentary speakers who are discussing how to harness diplomacy and to improve global solidarity. He's told the gathering he's in awe of South Africa's most revered statesman, Nelson Mandela, and that his life should inspire the world to return to a democratic order. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Sir Lindsay Hoyle has appealed to G20 nations to ensure the longevity of democracy and a free, peaceful world. He says it's unfathomable that a sovereign nation like Ukraine was invaded by Russia and that troops from North Korea are supporting the war.
What kind of world are we living in? We went through 2 world wars to stop this. Let us not walk into the 3rd World War.
Hoyle has called on G20 governments to do more to end conflict around the world, even those that don't attract international attention.
We must bring peace to the Middle East. We have to give hope for the people of Gaza. We have to make sure the hostages are released as well. We've got to not forget about Sudan, where hundreds of millions of people have been displaced.
Hoyle says world nations must be respectful of one another and their sovereign boundaries. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Claremont.
Gold is trading at $3,863.52 an ounce. The rand is at 17.21 to the dollar, 23.20 to the pound, 20.20 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.81 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South between Samrand Avenue and Olifantsfontein Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu Interchange due to roadworks.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 28 degrees. The top story in EW and this hour, Advocate Teremutau says he stepped aside as evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, largely due to certain administrative issues.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live.
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7.
And 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to 702. Thabo in for Clement. We're together till 12. Great having you with us. It's going to be a beautiful Thursday, I'd like to believe. And I'm wishing you a beautiful day, productive, and everything else that you'll be doing. I hope it goes well. I really hope so, because goodness me, life is tough, especially when you grow up. You face all these challenges and you're thinking, goodness me, why should I wake up to all of this? But whatever it is, I hope that things go well for you today, be it a job interview that you'll be attending online or in person. I really wish it goes well. I genuinely wish that it goes well. It could be that you are taking your child to their first day at school. Yes, some people are doing that today. It could be that you are perhaps hoping for that contract, for this business contract to come through today. You've been praying for it. You've been trying your best and meditating on this thing, that it goes well, this big business transaction that you've been anticipating. I genuinely hope that the negative vibes fizzle out and the space is dominated by positivity and things go your way for a change. Things go your way and you are pleasantly surprised by a stroke of fortune and it turns things around for you and your loved ones. I really hope that, genuinely, because life is tough and we don't make it easy by speaking only about politicians, do we? We are just adding on your negativity at times, and I feel bad whenever we speak about these 10,000 stories that are not empowering, and I'm thinking, oh man, we are adding another layer on top of a layer for you. But feel free, if there's something that you're doing today and you're hoping that it will go well, share that with us. Tell us. It could be that today is the day when things go well for you. Do share that with us. Or it could be that you're expecting a baby today. That would be so sweet. Feel free to share that with us. I'd love to hear that as well on the open line. I know we don't speak about that much, but I would love to hear that from you. When I say I wish you well, I genuinely do. I genuinely do. Sincerely, I do, from the bottom of my heart. Simply because when you've experienced hardships, you realize that it's not only hard work that gets you somewhere. You do need a stroke of luck where the two meet. Hard work and luck, and it brings up great opportunities and a whole lot of people. You would know that I'm not a big fan of Herman Mashaba's politics, but what I'm a big fan, where I'm his big fan, is his business acumen. He's written a book that I've spoken about, a couple of books, but the one that I really loved was Black Like You. Right at the end of the book, and I paraphrase because it's not in front of me, I didn't think I'll be speaking about this. Right at the end of the book, he says, "The only difference between my brother Pobani and I is damn good luck." And that's where I realized that this man really knows then what business is about. It's not only about hard work. Believe me, you can work as hard as possible for years on end, and things may not go well. You do need that stroke of luck. You do need it, one way or the other. And a whole lot of success people won't admit to this. Much of it is just luck. Being at the right time, at the right place, with the right people. I wish that for you today. Anyway, it's 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let me stop my motivational sessions. But I thought we should start on a humanly note, and just to give you some bit of heads up as to what's coming up on the show a little bit later on. On the open line is on, and feel free to call right away on 011-883-0702. Alternatively, send a voice note to 072-702-1702. I'd love to hear from you about any other issue. For me, I would like to submit a couple of issues for us to consider, and feel free to add on those at any time whatsoever. We had a very serious, divisive, and a polarizing debate prior to us coming on air. The team, myself, and our colleagues upstairs. I'm saying upstairs because our studios are downstairs and we do the work upstairs, the preparation and everything else. So we were having, I walked in and we had this huge debate, and Sis Prim, whom you would know, is our mother here at Prime Media. Wonderful, wonderful lady. She's our mom, all of us. And she was saying, oh, Tibos, as she usually says, oh, Tibos, you look so good. And yesterday you were a little bit down. What happened? So, and then she says, you smell so good. Is that Lux soap? And I said, no, Sis Prim, it's not Lux. It's shower gel. I don't use Lux. I don't live in 1982 with you guys and Mashia Tena, who was the face of Lux at the time. No offense to Lux. That's what I said to Sis Prim. And I said, I use shower gel. When I said that, my colleagues jumped on board immediately. Zintle and many other colleagues, and said, no, you can't just use shower gel when you're taking a shower. You need to use soap first and then use a shower gel. That's a right way of taking a shower. You need a bar of soap and you then use a shower gel after that. I said, what? That's craziness. It doesn't work like that. Are you not duplicating things? And the debate ensued. And I said, we'll take it to Parliament. Parliament meaning on air. And here, what is the right way of taking a shower and how do you take a shower? Do you use a soap and shower gel, or do you just use the shower gel, or do you just use soap? Please, please save me in this argument, in this huge debate that has polarized the employees of Prime Media and divided us into half. And potentially the country will be divided about this as well. That's on a lighter note. That's on a lighter note. I know I'm going to get text messages, people telling me the country's banning and you are talking about shower gel. We will come to that. That's on a lighter note, a humanistic note. We must talk about frivolity every now and then, because we shouldn't only be defined by the negativity that has taken place in our politics. And so that's on a lighter note. So that's that. If you want to jump in and weigh in on that debate, you are most welcome to do so. Do you use shower gel, or do you use soap, or do you use both, or one of the other? Who's right? Is it me or my colleagues in this huge, huge debate? And Abel, our technical producer, also jumped in the argument, and he was saying that it depends. He uses soap for when he's taking a bath, but when he's taking a shower, he uses only shower gel. Well, let us know, 011-883-0702. But on a more serious note, and I don't know if you remember what Gayton McKenzie had said in his Facebook Live the other day. You know that they must have had a meeting with the ANC, and this is contesting the politics of Johannesburg, and on the backdrop of Kenny Kunene having been found in the scene where the police were effecting an arrest of that controversial figure in Sandton. And subsequently, Kenny Kunene, the deputy president of Patriotic Alliance, was then suspended, and he stepped down as a councillor in the city of Joburg, and he had forgone his role as the MMC of transport in the city of Johannesburg. PA also removed him from his responsibilities. An investigation was commissioned, and CDH was a company that did that, and he was found to be innocent. That's a debate for another day, right? And now he must be back in his job. He was a councillor, and the PA was saying, we want him back as the MMC, come hell or high water. And Gayton said, by Tuesday, I would have resigned my role in the GNU as minister. And he went on to say, Helican may men, I'm going to resign. They think I need this. Well, did he resign yesterday? Did Gayton McKenzie resign yesterday? No.
Tuesday morning, watch the movie. Tuesday morning, watch the movie. This Tuesday morning, after 7 days, I can't come here and publicly and then word ek weer pap. Then they must have offered me something for me to stay. I'm not that type of a leader. Ek val waar my mense val. Ek staan waar my mense staan. Ek is die type of leader. Julle het te gewoond, julle het leaders wat op die tafel sit en alleen eet op die tafel. I can't expect people to resign, then I still stay there. Tuesday morning, if I don't resign, you must never vote for the PA again. You must never. If I don't resign, the only thing that will make me stay is if his Kenny Kunene is being reinstated. Ek sal julle nooit uitverkoop nie. Julle is gewoond vir uitverkopers. Ek is al 20 jaar in die kansel, maar dat niks verander nie. Ek is al 30 jaar in die politiek.
We are watching the movie. It's Thursday. When is the movie starting? That's supposed to have started on Tuesday, right? When is the movie starting? Please, my popcorn is finished. I've been waiting for the movie. Politicians, guys. Politicians in South Africa. And we must just sweep it under the carpet and pretend it didn't say that. I know afterwards he says, no, it was not a demand. It was a mission intent, and whatever else. Politicians. That's what he said. If you're a member of the PA, feel free to call us on 011-883-0702 or not. So those are some of the things that I would like us to chat about. Feel free to add on to these and much, much more. Between 10 and 11, we on our Hanging Out feature, Michael Beaumont will be my guest, Action SA chairperson, prolific politician, and his name needs no introduction in South African politics. He's going to join us, and we're just going to shoot the breeze, get to know the man a little bit more, play some of his favorite songs, and we'll touch on this, that, and the other. Of course, we'll speak about politics. He is obsessed with debates, and we will have, I'm sure, one or two debates on air with him. But generally, Michael Beaumont is going to be my guest. Feel free to join us for that one between 10 and 11 o'clock. Then the dialogue on the Clement Manyathela show, we will be speaking to Dr. Levi Ndo, who's a political analyst, Professor Nzikilelo Breakfast, Professor Dek Kotse, and we are looking at the jobs bloodbath in South Africa, the state of South African politics, corruption, coalitions, and global trade. And we'll ask the experts, is President Cyril Ramaphosa going to conclude his second term? And what makes him so powerful more than other presidents prior to him? What has he achieved? But generally, the state of politics in South Africa, where are we now? So also that one, it won't be too much curated because I'd like it to be driven by you as a South African. That's the show. Feel free to send your concerns, your queries, your assertions, your views, your encounters on 072-702-1702. Alternatively, call us directly. That's what I prefer. I want to hear your voice. I want to argue with you. I want to have an interaction with you. I want to hear what you think. I want you to challenge me on my thoughts. I want to broaden our scopes as thinkers, both you and I. So I'd rather you call. And I wonder if you had Advocate Terry Mutau on Bongani Pingwa's show. I personally, Bongani thinks differently, but I think he did a terrible job. I thought he said very little. He left a lot to speculation. He had an opportunity to clear things out, and I'm not saying that he should have sunk himself, but generally I find executives don't take the media seriously. They don't take advice. They don't go to PR outlets and say that I want to present this. Will it work? And they don't make use of media advisors. I thought he could have executed himself well. I'm not in any way undermining his expertise, his education, his competence as an officer of the court. I'm not in any way doing that, but I'm saying how he executed himself on air leaves a lot to be desired. He just left conjecture and speculation. He didn't want to commit to one thing or the other, and it made him look like he was just complaining about being paid, nothing else. That's how he sounded. I'm not saying that's what he is really about, but that's how he sounded. And a very smart person like him should have known that, let me get a media advisor. I want to go on media. Let me get a reputable company to guide me so that I can communicate clearly, articulately what I have in my head so that it comes across in a way that I intended to. 21 minutes after 9. Abel, the show has officially begun.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
011-883-0702. We also asked about that very divisive debate currently brewing in South Africa. How do you take your shower? With soap and a shower gel, or just shower gel, or just soap? Feel free to share that with us amongst other things that we've raised. Luvuyo, you are in Northcliffe. Hi, welcome.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I don't know. Your colleagues there, haven't they heard that the economy is struggling? Why should you be using both your soap and shower gel? Use one of them, man. In fact, washing for men is a bit overrated. Even the antiperspirant says this thing lasts for 72 hours. Why you be messing up with that?
72 hours. No, but what do you use before you say sharp, bra? What do you use? Give us your views.
No, I use a shower gel.
Oh, just a shower gel. You don't use a soap and a shower gel.
No.
Okay, you like me then.
Yeah.
So that's one vote for Thabo and 0 for my colleagues who were debating with me about this. Livio, have a lovely day, man. Really appreciate your call.
Man. Cheers,
Thanks. Steve, you are in Centurion. Hey, Steve. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm free, man. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Good, man. Yeah, I think Clement did us a favor as a country and himself as well for his reputation. You know, he resigns now rather than sitting there getting money, and when the committee is at its peak, then decide to resign and bring everything into disrepute. But now, I think he did very well so that whoever comes is still at the beginning will be able to adjust and take us forward. I think he did very, very good. I respect him for that. If he realized that it's not going to add any value on his aside. A man does it. But for Malema, let me come with Malema.
Before Malema, let's dispense of the Terimutau. I am not in any way in opposition of him resigning with honor and stepping aside and saying, let someone else add value. My pronouncement are purely on his appearance on radio this morning, that he didn't execute himself well. I am not attacking his honor, his integrity. I'm saying that he should have done more work. It was unclear what he wanted to communicate. He was just hiding behind words as if he was in court. And a lot of people were listening. He left us having to read in between the lines. And that's not the good thing that you want to do when you assume a public platform. I am not attacking him as a person. And if anything else, but I'm happy that he resigned when he did for the reasons that are best known to him. Yeah.
Don't you think he realized that it's going to fail? Because if you operate without a budget, as he says, you didn't fail.
Steve, I'm saying that's what he should have said. That's what he should have said. He should have said, looking at the budget and looking at the items that I need to service, it was going to be impossible to deliver a product that South Africa was going to be proud of. As a result, I left in order to allow someone who can do much with very limited resources. For me, I was going to be unable to deliver a very clear product that I am proud of with a limited budget. And I'm not saying that I want more, but the budget was too little for me to work with. That's all.
No, I get your point.
That's all. I'm not. I've never met the man. I'm not against him. I've loved his work that I've seen elsewhere. I'm happy for him. I'm saying on radio, in media, once you step into this thing, you are opening yourself up for serious scrutiny, and he should have prepared better.
No, you're right. Yeah,
that's all. Yeah. Thanks, my brother. Thanks, Steve. Tada. Mpo, hi, you in Zanin?
How are you doing?
Hey, Mpo, I've lost you there. Sorry about that. Abel, can we? I don't want to neglect the voice notes today. We'll try to go back to the caller that we lost now. Let's go to the voice notes, please, Abel, on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Tabo. No way. Shower gel is the equivalent of bar soap. They basically have the same ingredients and they do the same thing. So why would you use one and then the other? It's one or the other. It makes no sense. They're both soaps.
Thought so.
TD.
Hi, Anna, Tabo. I only use shower gel as well. Like, I like shower gel because it leaves my skin feeling smooth and soft and luxurious. Soap just often dries me out, so I only use shower gel. I think they're made to be able to kill whatever bacteria builds up when you sweat and when you're going about your activities during the day. No. You can't do soap and shower gel. La waste, guys.
No, I agree. It's duplication, hey? I agree, and all of them were against me. They're saying, you must use both, or else you didn't take a proper shower. You must use soap and shower gel. Well, now she's looking away, pretending not to be listening to the show. One of the proponents of this argument, Zintle, who's the producer of the show. Well, I'm glad that I'm getting more votes than them. Feel free to continue on 011-883-0702. Butsang, you are in Centurion. Hey.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm free, Butsang. How are you? Shapuzit.
I'm good, man. Thanks. You know what? Before I go to I agree with you regarding Advocate Mutau. I love that guy. I know his work.
Yes.
Very meticulous lawyer, but he missed an opportunity this morning.
Thank you.
I was listening to the debate. He actually left us more hanging and puffing air, to say, bro, here's an opportunity. What happened?
Exactly.
Yes, you are saying as issues of the budget. Tell us, is it the reason you left, not for your pocket, but for failing to can fund the product and the project well? Say it, everything.
That's it.
And you know what it would have said to me? It would have said to me, this man has a vision. This man likes perfect work. This man likes good work. He doesn't want shabby work, and I will respect him more. I have respect for him now. He would have added more to say, he's not a shabby workman, and if the government is not going to allow them to do a proper work with the most important commission ever, I don't want to be part of that. Simple as that.
That's it. No one would have accused him.
Yes, we can't dictate to him what to say, but the content of what you say, the content of what you come to the radio for is very important.
And Butsang, he left us with more questions than answers. As a result, unintendedly, he then created himself to be a target, and people were now accusing him of wanting more money because he was not clear. I mean, he came out worse. Exactly, came out far worse than he would have. And Abutsang, I have found that to be a very unfortunate phenomena with a number of the executives. They don't take their media appearance seriously. They'd rather pay consultants in other spheres of their work, but when it comes to media, they don't want to invest in that, and they don't understand that that's the most important thing as well. I mean, remember Collins Detswalo appearing on TV with a hoodie and whatever else. He looks like a thug, and they don't understand that perceptions matter. He thinks, no, I'm so smart, I'll do it. It doesn't. And he's there chilling. It's like, bruh, who are you? And you must be running billions and billions of rands, and we must take you seriously. You're looking like that. So I'm saying those things matter.
PR matters. Very important. But on the shower gel, before I go off, it's not for stingy or in. It's not for rich or in. I use 4. So sometimes 3, sometimes 4. I will never go and put soap on my hair. So I've got shampoo because I've got hair.
That's fair.
And I don't wash my face with soap, normal soap.
Yeah.
I use face gel. I use face scrub.
That's fair.
And then It depends on how filthy do I think I am. Like after gardening or what, I use Sisepa or what is Sisepa, the bar soap, because I believe the shower look like I clean now. So I alternate between the two.
No, that's where you lost me. That's where you and I go different direction. Sharp Botsang, have a good day. It's exactly 9:30. And Eyewitness News headlines. Sfiso Zulu standing by to give us the very latest. Good morning, Sfiso.
Thanks, Thabo. Good morning. Advocate Clement Manyathela says he's confident that those left in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will continue to uncover alleged corruption within the police service. The commission kicked off its first sitting in Pretoria 2 weeks ago, with now former evidence leader Manyathela outlining a timeline of events that would frame the inquiry. Speaking on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa this morning, Manyathela emphasized the importance of safeguarding the integrity of investigations. National Assembly Speaker Thoko Didiza has made a strong call for the fundamental reform of international institutions, saying they are outdated and don't reflect contemporary realities. She has rallied her counterparts from G20 parliaments to advocate for change while lamenting the decline of multilateralism. And some analysts are of the view that the Gaza peace plan presented by US President Donald Trump lacks fundamental details and leaves the global community with more questions than answers. Trump announced the 20-point plan this week, which would ensure peace in Gaza, where more than 65,000 people have been killed in Israeli attacks. Palestinian group Hamas, which is still reviewing the plan, sparked the war on 7th of October in 2023, killing more than 1,200 people and taking others hostage. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling in Devlin, we've got some delays on the Golden Highway. This is between the N1 and Union Avenue due to faulty traffic lights as well as roadworks that are taking place along the route. There's more roadworks on the N3 South between the Baklu Interchange and Van Buren Road. While traveling on the N3 North towards the Baklu turn-off, do expect heavier traffic volumes due to roadworks after Marlborough Drive. There's also queuing traffic in four ways on Winnie Mandela Drive due to an accident near Monte Cassino Boulevard, causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of Witkoppen Road. Traveling in the city of Tshwane, we've got some delays on the R80 East Mabopane Highway approaching the R80, and there's roadworks taking place on the N1 South after the Flying Saucer turn-off. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
And I think what you're saying about the vulnerability, it also requires that the dynamics and the relationship are such that you're confident that your partner's not going to shame you for not making an income.
Exactly. It's also very important to understand that money isn't just numbers. It's highly, highly emotional, and it represents security, freedom, and love, So if there's issues around the security and the money disclosures and stuff like that, people will not feel safe in that relationship.
Independent financial advisor Dedi Shabalala.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Soccer and speed meet this season with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. The thrilling competition sees 4 million rand in cash and prizes up for grabs. The first of 4 brand new vehicles is a top-of-the-range Toyota Rumian. Simply bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch to qualify. Feel the fever and bet now on the action. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Spring is in the air, meaning it's almost time for the 10th SA Garden Day on Sunday the 12th of October.
Celebrate the day with a garden party, lunch under the trees, or cake at a community garden, and invite your friends, family, or neighbors to enjoy your garden with you. Visit gardenday.co.za for inspiration and share pictures of your celebration on social media with #GardenDaySA. SA Garden Day, Sunday the 12th of October.
702 and corporates that care with Tracker are talking about Tracker's partnership with Matthew, an initiative helping South Africa's future leaders succeed in maths and science.
We have been part of this incredible country for the last 29 years. South Africa has helped us grow into the organisation that we are and has helped us be part of the economy of this country. So fundamentally, we now have to give back. We have to make sure that not just for the last 29 years, but for the future 29 years, we're participating in that conversation. Secondly, Bongani, Tracker is growing exponentially at the moment. We're employing at all levels within the organisation, from top to bottom in essence. So what we're actually looking for as part of that growth fundamental is to make sure that we have the right people coming into the organisation. We can either be part of the solution or we can be part of the problem or do nothing.
Tracker, protecting futures by investing in STEM education. Visit matthew.co.za to learn more. 702, let's walk the talk.
Coming up, your chance to win up to 5,000 rands with Stellantis on 702. Send us a WhatsApp voice note of your car's name, the story behind it, plus your name and ID number to 072 702 1702. We could call you to win on this Name Your Car Day. T's and C's and more on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
That will be coming up much later on. We continue on the open line though. 011-883-0702, 011-883-0702. I was hoping that Patriotic Alliance members would join, or their voters would call in and speak about what their leader had said, Gayton McKenzie. Remember, he had said that by Tuesday we would have seen a movie. He would have resigned as the minister. I didn't see that anyway. I assume he's still the minister, and he's still within the GNU. And it just gave us an opportunity to reflect on how politicians say one thing and do the next. Your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Tibos. You know, I'm listening to Gayton McKenzie as you're playing the clip, the audio clip there. Yo, I'm laughing. I'm laughing alone here. Yo, these politicians, these guys are playing people. They are playing us.
Good morning, Tabo. Thank you for the show. It's Umpile in Sunning Hill. I agree with you 100%. Advocate Terry Mutaung left a lot unsaid. Actually, he left us more confused than before. He should have just not even tried to say anything. I feel like he's undermining the public's integrity.
Yeah.
And we are now just supposed to take whatever that he said. He threw around words here and there, money. So we are confused. We don't know whether he left because of the money or he left because of whatever reasons. We don't know. We still don't know. We didn't know before he came. We still don't know even now. So more confusion, more and more confusion.
Exactly.
Like, no.
Now we are left to guess, and now we are made to be lesser thinkers for not deriving some sense from what he had said. It sounded so ambiguous. It was not clear at all. On one hand, I am here to serve, and I took a huge pay cut. And on the other, once government only gives you 147 million rands, and you have all these individuals, it was just so unclear. I have no idea why he didn't prepare adequately, or why, he could have simply not come through. Now it's up to us to decipher messages, and from the coded language that he used, he did not answer anything directly. And I'm not saying he should have sunk the commission's integrity. No, I'm not looking for that sort of drama. But I feel that he had an opportunity, that's Advocate Terry Mutau, to say, listen, I decided to step aside for the following reasons. The commission's work is extremely important and it must continue, it will continue. However, I had felt the resources that were accorded to the commission were inadequate to, in my humble view, arrive at a product that South Africa would be proud to present and call it its own. And as a result, I decided that I won't be able to participate maximally if that is the case. But he touches on this. As I said in my opening statement, he quotes himself. No one saw that. And these are cream of the crop. These are cream of the crop in their spaces. These are the experts, top of the range. Now we must just decipher things. And he wants to say this, but he can't say this. He wants. It didn't do him any favors. It didn't do him any favors at all. And as I said, I have nothing against the man. I loved his previous works, and I thought he was an appropriate person to carry on the job. I'm speaking purely on his execution on air this morning, nothing else. 19 minutes to 10 o'clock, we continue with your calls. Spiwe in Joburg. Hi, Spiwe.
Hi, how are you? Tabo?
All right, Spiwe, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I just want to throw my comment as well after what Terry said.
Please.
For me, as a citizen, it leaves.
Spiwe, I lost you for 2 seconds. For you as a citizen, it leaves?
It leaves me with a bitter taste. Because with what he said now, he's actually telling me as a citizen that we're not going to get the best out of the report. Because now when he's talking about the budget, which means they will use junior advocates instead of using senior counsels and all those people to extract the information that would have been gathered. So with that, for me, it shows me that we're not going to get the best of the best of the qualities of the report from this.
Yeah. Yeah, he touched on that a little bit, right? And so
Yes.
are you more concerned that perhaps the quality won't be at its peak, and
Yes,
the outcomes are going to be not what we want them to be as a country?
Yes, it won't be the best quality that we can produce as a country. And the other thing that it shows that no, is after this only because of money. And I doubt that that's the actually main reason that made him leave this thing.
Yeah.
Because the budget, he knew about the budget way before.
Yes.
He knew about the budget way before he started on this project. So now coming with that excuse, I think there's more into this.
Yeah. Okay, Spiwe, thanks very much for your thoughts there. Let me read some of the text messages that have come through. Hi, Tabo and the team. Using shower gel and bar soap at once is a waste of both toiletries, water, and time. A bar of soap at night and a shower gel in the morning is much more effective. Another text message says, Gate and Mackenzie's demands were met. Please feel free to share more. Let us know. I'd love to hear from you about that. Hi, Tabo. It sounds to me like just a waste of water. You had to rinse off the shower gel and then again rinse off the soap from a country struggling with water. It's just a waste. Anonymous says, good morning, Tabo. Simple, you wash your body with bar soap and rinse with shower gel. Why would you remain anonymous at this very well-meaning message? Why? Are you going to get into trouble at home? Please let us know. 011-883-0702. And here's... for balance, here's a text message that is in support of Advocate Terry Mutau. Tabo Way. Advocate Mutau explained himself very well. All he didn't do was go in and a roundabout way as you seem to suggest he should have done. Your revised statement, you wish he should have said, is just a longer version of his explanation. No, mine was about 30 seconds. He had about 12 minutes, if not more, with Bongani. He spoke on how budget compromises, who to appoint or delegate. He's a man of honor, a professional who did not want people to doubt and undermine the commission. You see, we don't have to argue about that. I agree with all of that. As far I don't have any reason to think that he's not a man of honor. I agree with you on that. I'm not saying he's a crook. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm speaking about how he should have articulated himself this morning. I'm not attacking his integrity at all. 011-883-0702. Would love to hear from you and your voice messages on 072-702-1702.
Morning, Tabo. Great show. It's Emmanuel here from Riverside View. I think I'd like to give a lot of credit to the advocate. I think he expressed himself in the most clear manner given the circumstances. Remember, he has to balance trying to preserve the dignity of the commission and the process, and not make an insinuation that the process does still have the potential to succeed. So I think he was faced with a very difficult situation where he had to give some responses, but also preserve the integrity of the process. So that was a very, very, very good interview. Thank you. Great show.
Thank you, bro.
Mr. Thabo Masholo, good morning, Pauline Renfontaine. Regarding Advocate Terry Mutau, I think there's a song that's very relevant to situations like this. Judy Bausch's There Are More Questions Than Answers. Yep, maybe you can spin that jingle.
Hi, Tao and the team. With regards to Advocate Mutau, I agree with you. It seems he lacked public relations training because it didn't sound like someone was putting the interest of the public first. It was all about him than the public. So if I were his public relations practitioner, I could have advised him to say, I had my own personal problems. So I recused myself because I didn't want to delay the commission for my own personal problems. David.
David, I agree. There was a way of expressing himself without necessarily impugning the dignity or the integrity of the commission. There was a way of doing that. And as I said, I think all of us would be a little bit clearer. You would have found perhaps that many of us would have been on his side, understanding and say, yes, the government needs to invest a little bit more on this. If 2 billion rands could be fraudulently mismanaged at a hospital, surely extra millions should be accorded the commission to do its work, as we all agree in this country. I think that's the missed opportunity. It's not even about the man. It's the missed opportunity because that interview perhaps was going to turn the corner for the commission, its resources, and its administrative performance if he had perhaps expressed it a little bit better. But he was more concerned with how he comes out. He was more reserved, more guarded. And we were thinking, why are you so guarded? You chose to come through. You could have just said, thank you, no thanks, I'm not saying anything. And that was going to be that. 011-883-0702. Kekeletso in Soweto. Hi.
Hi, Tabo. How are you?
I'm free, Kekeletso. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Tabo, Kirana, you said something about politicians, or when politicians cannot be trusted. Mara Kirana, can we have these conversations about career politicians and activists?
Yeah.
And I know you know who right?
I do. Yes.
Yes. There's some of us who come into the space with as activists to come and change things and, say the right things. And then you have both PA, Gates and McKenzie, who say the things people want to hear.
Yes.
And we only do the opposite. We have politicians that say something was saying, and then by close of business, those politicians have changed. And we are in this situation as a country for precisely the fact that people are barata this thing of what do I say? Barata this thing who the right things. You know, it's like when your father says, "Do not listen to what a man says, rather see what he does."
Yes.
But as South Africans, we just don't seem to have that political savvy in terms of being able to pick politicians in fact who are activists that we have seen, or whenever the people need him, he is there. He wants to. I'm not surprised that Gayton is saying and doing what he's doing. And for Aboyeni to come up into the space, I mean, I just saw a very horrible video of him talking about, displaying his opulence, etc.
About the Range Rover or something like that. Yeah, I saw that.
What is this?
I mean,
is this, like, it was so crass. It's like serious crass materialism. And for me, it's like, is this really what we need? How do people even vote for these kinds of people? What is happening? What happened to critical thinking? We find it, Lana, probably on 702 years. You find your critical thinkers. But where is the rest of South Africa? Why is it that we are not understanding that the majority of these people are in this for themselves? We know political parties that really care for the people are not even getting the voice.
Yes,
and you know
yes.
what I'm talking about.
No, I do, because we are almost equating politics with pageants and some reality shows where you have to vote for the most popular and the most loved, and it shouldn't be the case, Kekelo. So, and I'm glad that you are really igniting that sense of awareness from us, and you are saying, I mean, we know they are not hiding it. I saw that video that you're speaking about, where Kenny Kunene was talking about a long base Range Rover or Land Rover, whatever it is, and he's got the keys wherever. And I'm thinking, this is a person that we're voting for. Is that the person? Is that really what you want as South Africa? Is that really who should become mayor of the city of Johannesburg? Is that what we want? If it is, let's stop complaining when there's no water, when there are no services. Let's not complain. Let's say, oh yeah, we want celebrities. We don't want activists to run the country. But Keke, I take your point 100%. Sister in Parktown, hi.
Hey, Tabo. Just quick one on what you and Kekles are talking about. If you want to know the true reflection of a nation, look at the leaders they select. I'm telling you, that's all I can say about what Kenny did. Anyway, Tabo, I was just talking about the advocate. I think, you're a better person than me because I'm starting to question his integrity. Because for me, is that he said earlier, he had resigned, right? He said, I had resigned before even the commission started. So if he had done that, why did he come in, and why did he decide now in the middle? I mean, there's already been 3 or 4 people, if I'm not mistaken, who have spoken, right?
Yes.
And then now we have given evidence. Now he's suddenly saying, in actual fact, I'm resigning.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, you guys don't know I'd resigned before all of this, right?
Yeah.
So he's actually saying to us, for me now, I'm sitting at this, where I'm sitting, that am I going to even trust the integrity of this commission itself, right?
Yeah.
Are we really going to get what we are hoping for? Or is this another waste of money that we don't even have, trying to get to the cracks of what's happening?
Money that we don't have, sister. Really, thank you so much. I'm pressed, and I apologize to just cut you off like that, sister. Please forgive me. I'm just running out of time. 6 minutes to 10 o'clock.
702. Serving the 702 family in 702 land, including those of you in Carltonville. Following the development of gold mines in the area, Carltonville was established in 1937. The town is named after a director of Consolidated Goldfields, Guy Carlton Jones. The nearby Puneng Gold Mine is the world's deepest mine, reaching a depth of over 4 kilometers. It is also the home of the Johannesburg Skydiving Club, which is based at the Carltonville Airfield. 702. Let's walk the talk across 702 land, including Carltonville.
Welcome to the brand new days. Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
When I say insurance, you say pineapple. Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Hop, hop, little shop.
Checkers Little Shop is back with 46 new minis. Get one free when you swipe and spend 200 Rand on deals like Jacob's Kroning or Gold Instant Coffee, 200 or 230 grams, any for 149.99 each. And Sir Fruit 100% fruit juice blend, 1.5 litre, any two for 89 Rand. Plus, stand to win a trip to Legoland Dubai. Simply shop and swipe to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers. T's and C's apply.
Celebrating you and yours with your share of 20,000 Rand. This Name Your Car Day. Thanks to Stellantis on 702.
You heard it on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Today is Name Your Car Day in 702. And Stellantis, the global automotive powerhouse behind brands like Citroën, Alfa Romeo, Peugeot, Opel, Jeep, and Fiat, are giving you the chance to win your share of 20,000 Rand all day on 702. To enter, we asked you to WhatsApp a voice note of your car's name, the story behind it, plus your name and ID number to 072 702 1702. If you did, we could call you with 5,000 Rand to celebrate your bond with you and yours. Thanks to Stellantis on 702. Visit primemediaplus.com for T's and C's and more. Are you looking for a car that matches your lifestyle? Stellantis South Africa has the perfect drive for you. From Alfa Romeo's Italian passion and performance to Opel's reliable innovation. Prefer French flair? Peugeot brings sophistication, and with Peugeot commercial reliability meets style. For bold simplicity, there's Citroën Adventure. That's cheap, built for freedom on and off the road. Want compact and fun? That's Fiat. And the future, it's here with the Leap motto. Driving new electrified solutions, no matter your needs. Stellantis speaks your language. And now, who do we have? Who is our winner?
My car name is Hope. I named it Hope. As a single parent, it's difficult to me because I was working as a security guard till retrenched. During COVID-19, since then, it's been difficult for me to find a job. I was hoping to be reinstated, but unfortunately not. It's really tough on our side at the moment, but as a father, I had to knock doors and asking and pleading for a job to put bread on a table for my kids to survive in a day, until I can be able to get back on my feet again and make ends meet. Hope is being able to see that there is a light despite all of the darkness. One day everything will be all right. Thank you.
Oh man, that seems amazing. And we have the one on the line, Tebola Tabi. Tebola, hi, welcome. You good?
I'm good. And even better, especially when you get in this call.
Fantastic. And then tell us about your car. What does it mean to you? What does your car mean to you?
Oh, it means everything to me because, man, you know how life is really hard. You know how things are in this world. But then with it, whenever whenever I drove my family, whenever I'm going to look out for a job, as I'm still searching for a job since after COVID-19 being retrenched, it gives me hope, love, courage, and faith that everything will be all right.
Fabulous.
just don't give up. Nothing
Don't
is
give up
easy
at
and
all.
Everything is possible, but
Yeah.
one day you'll wake up and get on your feet back again.
Listen, I don't want to waste too much of your time. Congratulations. You've won 5,000 rands for you and yours. Let's name your card day. This is thanks to Stellantis on 702. Tebola, you are a winner. And for your chance to win later on 702 afternoons with Relebogile Mabocha, WhatsApp a voice note of your car's name, the story behind it, plus your name and ID number to 072 702 1702. T's and C's and more on primemediaplus.com.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Advocate Terry Mutau says he's confident that those left in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will continue to uncover alleged corruption within the police service. The commission kicked off its first sitting in Pretoria 2 weeks ago, with now former evidence leader Mutau outlining a timeline of events that would frame the inquiry. Speaking on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa this morning, Mutau emphasized the importance of safeguarding the integrity of the investigations. He says despite stepping aside because of administrative issues amongst other concerns, he says he's confident the commission will achieve the desired outcome.
I have confidence in those that are left at the commission. I do not want to create an impression that I'm casting any aspersions on the commission. That's not what I want. My purpose is to explain things that haven't come out yet. For example, the timing of when I decided to leave the commission, which up to this stage, it is assumed that it was a decision that was taken as a sudden decision during the course of evidence being given. And it's not correct.
National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza has made a strong call for the fundamental reform of international institutions, saying they are outdated and don't reflect contemporary realities. She's rallied her counterparts from G20 parliaments to advocate for change while lamenting the decline of multilateralism. Didiza is hosting the speakers and representatives of G20 and African Union parliaments in the Western Cape this week, where a strong focus has been placed on the use of parliamentary diplomacy to achieve justice, equity and sustainability. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Speaker Toka Didiza has encouraged delegates to make this 11th P20 summit a turning point for parliaments to transform from reactive institutions to proactive engines of global solidarity. She says the weakening multilateral system is an uncomfortable reality that must be faced.
Critical bodies such as the United Nations Security Council and the World Trade Organization remain mired in procedural paralysis.
Didiza says political diplomacy needs to be a catalyst for multilateral renewal.
Parliamentary diplomacy is more than ceremonial protocol. It is a strategic instrument for building consensus, harmonizing legislative frameworks, and safeguarding democratic principles.
Didiza says parliaments must respond to global challenges, not merely with aspirational rhetoric, but with substantive legislative action. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Claremont.
And some analysts are of the view that the Gaza peace plan presented by US President Donald Trump lacks fundamental details and leaves the global community with more questions than answers. Trump announced the 20-point plan this week, which would ensure peace in Gaza, where more than 65,000 people have been killed in Israeli attacks. Palestinian group Hamas, which is still reviewing the plan, sparked the war on October 7th in 2023, killing more than 1,200 people and taking about 250 others hostage. Part of the plan includes a gradual Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, while Hamas is expected to release captives and have no role in running the region. International relations analyst Professor Yossi Mackelberg says this process will also require commitment from international governments.
What can be achieved in the meantime is ending the war, reducing the tension, and try to build on the post-war reconstruction of Gaza. And then, of course, only with the international community will say absolutely committed to a peace process.
Mickelberg says the opportunity for change ultimately lies in the hands of both Israel and Palestine.
When the war ends, Hamas would become less relevant in Palestinian politics. We see it also from opinion polls in Palestine, how there is a declining support in Hamas. Israel, at one point between now and October of next year, will hold election.
And 2 people have died following violent protests in Morocco. Officers opened fire at protesters attempting to storm a police station yesterday. Anti-government demonstrators filled the streets for a 5th night as protests over the state of public services once again descended into violence and destruction. A judicial investigation into the incident has been opened. Gold is trading at $3,863.52 an ounce. The rand is at 17.21 to the dollar, 23.20 to the pound, 20.20 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.81 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kidulis Interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 South between the Kidulis Interchange and Van Buren Road. Roadworks are taking place along this route. And there's more roadworks along the N3 North, causing delays between Marlborough Drive and the Buccleuch Interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Advocate Terry Mutau says he's confident that those left in the Matlanga judicial inquiry will continue to uncover alleged corruption within the police service.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 10 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome back. Great having you with us. Thabo Sholemashao in for Clement Manyathela. I'm excited to be with you this morning. And if you had joined us in the previous hour, you'd remember that we had a chat about Advocate Terry Mutau and his interview with Bongani Bingwa a little bit earlier on. We had that divisive debate that the country is currently having about whether when using a shower you use soap or shower gel or both. Yep. And your views were very interesting in that way. We also had a word about Gayton McKenzie, the president of the Patriotic Alliance, who had said that by Tuesday we would have seen a movie, a film of sorts, because he would have resigned if Kenny was not reinstated as the MMC of Transport. We didn't see any of that, right? And we're still waiting. We've run out of popcorn and Coca-Cola and some snacks, and the movie has not been aired as yet. We can't wait to see it. And so we asked, do politicians actually mean what they say when they say what they say? And so thanks very much for that. Now, as I said, I don't move furniture when Clement is away. I keep all the features as you like them. Hanging out is one of those features, and our guest today, I'll tell you about him just after this.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
He's been a strategist in very interesting political parties in South Africa and a formidable player on the landscape of South African politics and just generally the socio-economic structure. And he's the national chairperson of Action SA, and he stands as a central figure in shaping one of the country's fastest growing political movements. Known for his sharp intellect, unshakable work ethic, and belief in transformative power of principled leadership, Michael Beaumont is my guest, and he's going to be joining us. We're shooting the breeze. We're just having a chat with him, and we'll play one or two of his songs. And we're just getting to know him a little bit more, as Clement would do between 10 and 11 every Thursday. So Michael joins us right now. Michael, hi. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thabo, thank you very much. It's good to be speaking with you. I'm much more used to talking politics, much less used to talking about myself. So Definitely an interesting platform.
Yeah. I also know that you are more comfortable debating issues facing our country and generally the globe than reflecting on yourself. So the challenge will be on both of us, because I will also be tempted to raise political issues more than personal issues. But nonetheless, thanks, Michael, for joining us. It means the world to us. And welcome one more time. Michael, a lot of people, will take you as a very serious individual, and it could be that you are. But I'm wondering, where did Michael Beaumont meet politics? And at what age were you one of those kids at school who was in debating societies, arguing with teachers, correcting the principal? Were you that nerdish boy at school, or you evolved with time?
I was a bit of both, actually. I was a sportsman and a fairly popular kid in school, so definitely on that side of things, life was good. But I was one of those kids that had the great fortune of having a really special teacher in their lives. I think everyone knows the value of an educator who just really animates something in a young person. And I had a Zulu teacher in school by the name of Sandile Koluse, who really animated a sense of politics in me. I think back, and he must have been very IFP, because those were the early 2000s in KwaZulu Natal. But he definitely animated something in me. We used to argue passionately with one another, and he was the one who said, "If you don't go into politics, you will be wasting your life." And it awoke something in me that I think had been asleep. Largely because I'd grown up in a very privileged background, and politics had not been something that had really been awoken in me yet. And then I went to Rhodes University and studied politics there. And really, I think something stirred in me that it never stopped.
And this is in KZN. Hey, before we jump into politics, you are a KZN boy. Where about Durban?
Yeah, born and raised in Durban. I went to school in Michael House in the KZN Midlands.
Yes.
So very much part of my roots, and certainly part of my heritage.
Yeah. And a very, very interesting school, especially in as far as performance is concerned. Perhaps is that why you're so competitive? Because you had to claim your own in a school like that.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think that could definitely be a part of it. It was an interesting thing for me to go to boarding school at the age of 12, because it really makes you grow up and grow up quickly. I'd been in a day school in my primary school years, living at home, and going to a boarding school was something that made me grow up very quickly. It taught me the discipline of having to have a degree of structure and productivity in your life. And in a very competitive environment where there's lots of people competing for leadership positions, sports teams, academic grades, and certainly it animated a competitive spirit that I think was already there.
Then when did you meet the DA? Were you in the student body of the DA at varsity?
I tried. I must tell you, I went to Rhodes University, where the student body appeared to be far more interested in drinking than in politics. So the politics was fairly light back then. Certainly, I did get involved in politics in some of my vacation work. I volunteered for the DA in its KZN office when I was on vacation, and found myself working with some of their members of parliament for a period of time. And again, the political bug really stirred because I'd been studying politics at Rhodes. I loved the academic side of politics. But, while you're studying academic politics, part of you yearns for the practical side of politics when you see the very serious kind of changes taking place in the country. That was back in 2006 and 7, when we were coming off like a really strong economic growth period. But, serious cracks were starting to show in our democracy back then. Studying politics was great, but I wanted to get my hands dirty. And, the DA offered that platform to me in those early days. And I started my first job in the DA just 2 days after my last exam at Rhodes University.
Liberalism, are those your politics? Would you say that defines who you are and what you're standing for today?
It's a difficult question, and I'm not evading the question, so please bear with me. There is liberalism in the South African context has gotten a very bad name, and rightly so, because many of the people who bandy it about tend to bandy it about with a paternalistic type attitude towards the question of race, which I've always found deeply offensive. And they tend to do it in such a manner where they want to erase the slate pre-1994 and just say, well, we're in a democracy, everyone's free, people can just pick themselves up by their bootstraps, and we don't need to talk about the past anymore, which, again, I find deeply offensive in the context of South African politics. So it's a tainted term, but certainly in as much as believing in individual freedom and the supremacy of the Constitution, the importance of a free market system that has the ability to grow an economy and lift people through a rising tide. Those are all values that I deeply believe in, along with a free press, strong civil society, the rule of law, and those elements I deeply subscribe to.
And one of the key markers thereof would be a reduced involvement of government, especially in the private side of the economy, meaning business must play a bigger role and government must have very little as far as ownership is concerned. And I'm just raising that not to spark a debate between us, but mainly because we find ourselves in that space where we argue neoliberalism in South Africa as a huge monster. On one end, some people, such as yourself and others, would then demonstrate and say, well, look at the state of the SOCs in South Africa. There is a case to be made for business to have more involvement than government, given how they've been handling this, and testament to various commissions that have come before this.
Well, this is always the shortcoming I find with academic arguments, and I suppose why I wanted to get involved in the real politics of our country. Is academic arguments produce this idea of like a binary. You either have a totally free market system or you have total state control. And no country in the world operates that way. You take a look at America, which is a country that puts itself forward as a neoliberal capitalist economy, and you look at the role that its president is currently playing in its economy, and you say very far from being totally free market as well. So I think it's about the question of what should be state controlled, what should be privately involved, and striking a balance in the context of your country. I don't think it's possible to look at models around the world and project them on South Africa. South Africa has an incredibly painful but also unique history that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed by very deliberate programs of government as well.
Yeah.
We are the most unequal country in the world. And the notion that most free marketeers would push of a trickle-down economics addressing that level of inequality, for me, is just totally foolish.
And I said reduced, not eliminated, deliberately, because I would have referred to the degree at which government has to be involved. And especially if you're a proponent of free market, you would want less involvement and not completely not involved. I would assume it's sensible for government to have some role. And I just wanted to test the quantity at which government should be involved, the degree at which they should be involved in those sectors for you, and maybe just to give us a sense of what your impressions are regarding to that, because that gives us insights into your economics and not just your politics.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what you really have to start with is the role government plays in creating the rule book. If we regard the economy to be a contestation, much like a sporting environment, you've got to have the rules in place to determine how the game is played. And government has a vital role in establishing those rules so that you don't have, for example, two companies coming together and colluding to raise the price of bread in a system that isn't regulated, just to give you a particular example. I think there's also an important role to play from a legal framework. We need to ensure that businesses operate in a legal framework in this country that recognizes the history of our inequality, and we can't ignore that in the work that is being done. But certainly, I think the biggest role government needs to play is creating that enabling environment. It needs to create fertile ground into which people can start businesses, into which small businesses can become larger businesses and employ more people, and to which we can just have greater prosperity in our country.
Yeah.
And I think in many ways, the confusion of economic policy in the last 31 years has been a huge part of the problem, because there are many things going for South Africa economically. But one of the challenges is what direction our country follows remains completely unclear. Many thought that after last year's national elections, there would be, a change of direction. But in many ways, it's very much, the same old ship heading in the same direction with a new bunch of sailors. And I think from that point of view, that kind of ambiguity about our economic direction continues to cost the country with the highest unemployment rate in the world.
My guest is Michael Beaumont, and he is the national chairperson of Action SA, definitely one of the great political parties in South Africa. And he needs no introduction at all, especially if you are a political worm and you follow politics very closely. You'd understand his sharp way of doing things, and a way that has really contributed immensely to his party, and others would argue to South African political landscape in general. If you'd like to add a word or two, most welcome to do so, because we are shooting the breeze, and him and I every now and then would delve a little bit deeper into political waters than we intend to, but such is the nature of the beast. And it's your role as a referee to say, hey, we want to hear Michael's songs. What songs does he like? When he's chilling at home, what does he do? Does he go fishing? Does he enjoy watching movies? And we want to hear a lighter side of him. So feel free to be a referee and whip me back to line. It's 21 minutes after 10 o'clock, and you can send your thoughts, your views, and your questions for Michael to 072 702 1702, or just call us directly, which is what I'd prefer, on 011 883 0702. Text messages are also welcome. Michael, I should have started with this question, and I don't know why I forgot to. How do you pronounce your surname, bro? Because I'm always thinking I'm saying it wrong. Please, you say it so that the rest of South Africa can hear how it's said. It sounds French.
Yeah, I suppose the origins are French. We just pronounce it Beaumont.
Beaumont. Okay.
One of those weirdly spelt names from that point of view, if you're from an English-speaking environment. I suppose if it was French, it would be Beaumont.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly not French and can't find anyone in my family who ever was.
Yeah.
But in South Africa, you learn to have a sense of humor with the name, the way your name is pronounced.
Yeah, because I'm always thinking I'm saying it wrong. This sounds French, and here I am making an idiot of myself. The T should be silent. It's Beaumont, and I always think, am I saying it right? But I'm sure you come across that so often. But here's what I wanted to ask you on a more serious note. What did you love about the DA? And is there something that you miss from the DA? Surely this was, it broke your political virginity, so to put it. And this was your first. And there must have been some great moments there. And I'm keen to know, you had to then make a decision between Mashaba and DA. And you chose Mashaba.
Yeah, well, I think from my point of view, there were a lot of things that I fell in love with when I first joined the DA, talking back in 2006. But I would also say that the DA back in 2006 was a vastly different creature to the one I left in 2019. The irony is that the party was led back then by Helen Zille still. But even then, the Helen Zille of 2006 was someone who wanted to diversify the party, wanted to ensure it had greater appeal to the majority of Black South Africans in our country, wanted to build trust and shake off its legacy as a suburban white minority political party support base. And I identified with all of those things. I thought that was important. I think always knew that the DA wasn't perfect. Every political party is.
Yeah.
But that it was moving in the right direction. And I think over time, and particularly in that time between 2016 and 2019, there was that takeover of the DA by those classical liberals, or whatever you'd like to call them, who took the DA in a totally different direction and alienated many of those principles that I'd come to believe. And at the end of the day, I was forced to make a decision. Am I in service of a political party, or am I in service of a country? And obviously believing the latter, I thought that there was an important time for South Africans to have a political alternative, which, fully appreciating there are 600 political parties registered in our country, and lots of them indeed. But very few of them offer a real and practical alternative that can sustain over different elections. Action SA has not been without its own challenges, but it is a party that has stamped its mark. It was the 6th largest party in 2021 and the 7th or 8th, I think, in the last election. We have a lot of room to grow and a lot of growing to be done, but ultimately I am of the view that there has to be an alternative to people of this country who want a party with those values, but wants a party that will have broad appeal to South Africans across racial divides of our country.
Did you feel conflicted? Were you at the crossroads? And I'm wondering, at which point did you have to make a decision? Because you'd had to decide either you are going with the then Mayor Mashaba, or the Democratic Alliance, and you break ranks altogether. And if I'm not mistaken, at the time you were working as in the mayor's office, and you were the head of that office, right? You were chief of staff in the mayor's office. Were you conflicted? And I'm wondering, how did you come to that determination? Because the one seemed a bit rosy and a little bit comfortable, and the easier route to take. You could have said, great, I'll go with the party, they'll place me elsewhere again. But you then chose the road less traveled, so to speak.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, definitely a difficult 4x4 type of road. You'd call that one of those roads in the Northwest with big potholes. Because in real terms, I think what your listeners should know is that starting a new political party in South Africa is not for the faint-hearted. You see lots of people do it, very few succeed, because it's probably one of the highest barriers to entry of any industry in our country. It's very challenging. A lot of things are stacked against you, and you have to do a lot to try and surpass those challenges. So from my point of view, it was a decision that was made over time. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. What I saw going on was kind of like a slow motion car crash in the DA, with the takeover of that party. And it really was the case that in the city of Johannesburg, where we had been put in place to run a minority coalition in a very difficult circumstance, in a city that had only ever been governed by the ANC post 1994. We really wanted to see a party that backed our efforts and understood that the best way for that party to grow and break down trust would have been to deliver services and to break down those trust barriers through delivery to people who had never had services before. Ultimately, when the takeover of the DA took place, those kind of governance arrangements were demonized. They were thrown out as the baby with the bathwater. And effectively, those opportunities were collapsed. And when people who are now leaders of the DA started plotting with the ANC to remove Herman Mashaba, even when he was, by far and away the most successful mayor Johannesburg has ever had, not only was it very clear to us that the party had left us behind, but in another way, it also becomes greatly ironic that some of those leaders now want to stand up and profess that they want to rescue Johannesburg from the very crisis that they perpetrated.
0727021702. There's a question from Alison here, and Alison says, when will Action SA hold internal democratic elections, or is it an autocratic organization? Michael?
Far from it, Alison. We are a party that has branches built up in all 9 provinces. We have a decision-making structure that goes up to provincial and national structures of the party. We work very deliberately to ensure that when we make decisions, we go to the ground and we listen to what our structures and voters say. But we're also a very, very young party. We're a party that is just 5 years old. In the old age home of South African politics, that is but a babe. And we have a constitution that says that in order to have an elective conference, we must do so a certain period of time after the national and provincial election. So partly correct. But equally, we have to have a certain threshold of branches launched across the country so that if we go to a conference, it is clearly a conference that reflects the wishes of the South African people and their diverse nature across 9 provinces. And we are working hard to achieve that threshold. We still believe we'll do it this year. But certainly one of the interesting political dynamics that we continue to view is that many of our political opponents spend a great deal of time, talking about this autocratic internal decision-making nature of Action SA, which is far from the truth. But on the other hand, there's no organization in the world that takes decisions based on what its political opponents want them to do. And at the end of the day, Action SA is going through that maturation and democratizing process. We're doing so at our pace. Our members and our structures appear to be very happy. And I don't think we're going to start listening to our political opponents to guide us on that process either.
Are we going to have elections in the horizon?
Yeah, certainly. I was saying definitely we believe sometime this year.
Okay.
We're working to achieve a branch formation threshold that must be met first before we can get there.
Yeah.
But it's a process that we have to go through, and certainly not something that can happen overnight. And in many ways, suggesting that Action SA as a 5-year-old party should be having the same level of internal elections as parties that have been around for decades is just not recognizing the internal democratizing and maturation process that a young party has to go through.
Hanging out with Michael Beaumont here on 702. I'm Thabo in for Clement, and we're together till 12. Feel free to send those questions through to 072 702 1702. It's exactly 10:30. Sfiso Zulu standing by to give us the very latest on Eyewitness News headlines. Morning, Sfiso. What's the latest?
Thanks, Thabo. Good morning. Well, Advocate Terry Mutau says he's confident that those left in the Madlanga judicial inquiry will continue to uncover alleged corruption within the police service. The commission kicked off its first sitting in Pretoria 2 weeks ago, with now former evidence leader Mutau outlining a timeline at the time of events that would frame the inquiry. Speaking on 702 Breakfast with Bonangani Bingwa this morning, Mutau emphasized the importance of safeguarding the integrity of the investigations. The Patriotic Alliance and ANC are expected to have a follow-up meeting today to continue discussing their issues with Kenigune's reinstatement as Johannesburg Mayoral Committee member. But the talks will now include proposals put forward by both parties on how they can work together in other municipalities, including in Ekurhuleni and Tshwane. And a judge in the US has thrown out a lawsuit by a man who accused rock band Nirvana of distributing child sexual abuse images. The band has a naked 4-year-old baby on their breakthrough 1991 album, Nevermind. The court tossed out the lawsuit for a second time after finding that no reasonable jury would consider the picture pornographic. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the N3 North, we've got delays between Marlborough Drive and the Baku interchange, while in Halton an accident has been reported. It's on the M1 South before Halton Drive. Delays coming out of Glenhove Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 South between the Kirulis interchange and Van Buren Road. That's due to roadworks along that route. And if you're heading towards Amalgam, traffic is backed up along the M2 West between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. Travelling in the city of Tshwane, do expect some delays along the N4 West. This is just as you come out of the Proof Plus interchange, and there's also queuing traffic on the N1 South towards Samrin Avenue. This is due to an accident. Please be on the lookout there.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Phishing, quishing, smishing, so many ishings. Aibo, scammers are doing the most these days. From dodgy SMSs to fake QR codes, hacked WhatsApps and calls asking for your PIN. If it ends in ishing, stay alert. It's probably ishing your money. Scams can happen anywhere. And if unsure, contact ABSA on 0860 557 557. Protect your money. Protect your story. ABSA, your story matters. An authorized financial services provider.
Let me get this right, Ron. You're a plumber by day and Pretoria's smoothest wedding DJ by night.
Yeah, it started out as a passion and now I've got bookings until December. And a smoke machine that needs its own seatbelt.
And you sold your car to buy a van through We Buy Cars.
Bro, it was music to my ears. Zero admin, no long queues. They pulled in, checked it out, and before I knew it, I had cash in the bank.
Now that's a banger. We Buy Cars. Geared for your passion. Geared for you.
It's that time of the year.
Sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, blocked noses and coughs. It's time to live, work, play and sleep allergy-free. For trusted relief for you and your family this allergy season, ask your pharmacist for the Adcock Ingram OTC Allergy Survival Pack. With products like Allergex Non-Drowsy, Cetisid, Levogex and more, we have you covered. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC. And visit beprepared365.co.za.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
26 minutes to 11 o'clock. My guest, Michael Beaumont, Action SA National Chairperson, joins us on. Is talking to us about this, that, and the other. Feel free to venture your thoughts about his work, about him, about everything else that you would want to know on 011-883-0702. I don't want to neglect this text from Bongani because I will get into trouble. Bongani says, morning, can you kindly ask Michael what his favorite movies are and what his favorite book or novel is and why? Coming from Bongani. Michael?
Sure. I always hate questions about my favorite book or movie or song because there's so many good ones and picking one always feels like I'll be offending the others. But I'll tell you ones that I'm into at the moment, and that's the best I can do.
Yeah.
I recently watched Oliver Stone's historic JFK.
Yes.
Which really is an incredible movie, played by Kevin Costner, who passed away recently. Characters like Joe Pesci and other great actors, and that really was a fantastic movie, one that sticks with you.
Yeah.
In terms of a book, Peter Harris is an author I've enjoyed who's written a lot about South African history. I am a bit of a history buff. He wrote that book, Birth, about the 1994 elections and just how close we came as a country to the democratic project falling apart before it even began. And I think there are so many things we take for granted about our democracy and our electoral system, especially as a younger person. I can't say a young person anymore. I've got to say a younger person, you know. But someone who wasn't around for the 70s and much of the 80s, etc. And to actually see how close the democratic project came falling apart in those early years, which I think was scary. He also wrote that book in a different time, where he contrasts the work of the MK operatives in the country and the secret police clandestine activities of the apartheid government. And it really, fantastic book, great author. Also someone who was at Michael Lawson Rhodes University, so we shared that connection, I suppose. But I really enjoy history books about our country and can't put that one down at the moment.
You're a JFK kind of person, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm not one of those people that hold up JFK as an icon. I think he was an interesting leader.
And you've got a shrine of JFK at home.
No, nothing of the sort. I'm not one of those. I actually have come to view over my time in politics that leaders are interesting for different reasons. Yeah. They all have vices and virtues. None of them are saints. None of them are gods. They're all deeply flawed in their own way. And really the objective is to learn from leaders and what they bring to the table and what they don't. And I think both of those things are as important as one another.
Sure. Let's go to some calls, and in a short while, I'll ask us to play a song or two from the choices that you have given our team. 011-883-0702. Godfrey, you are in Hammanskraal. Morning, Godfrey.
Yes, how was it?
I'm free. How are you, Godfrey?
I'm well, man. I think my question to Michael is that in politics, we know that politicians like to flip-flop. We were playing a clip by Gayton McKenzie, and we waited for the movie on Tuesday. We never saw the movie. Okay? Yes. And let me park that one.
Yes.
But then Herman Mashaba, the leader of Action SA, was adamant and very concrete to say they will never in their entire political life work with ANC, because ANC is the reason why we have corruption all over the show, provincial, municipality, you name it.
Yeah.
But to our surprise, they worked with ANC in Joburg municipality, in Tshwane, for them to have mayor in Tshwane, they worked with ANC. What made them to change, and what should we then begin to trust them? Because if they have this particular position and then they make a roundabout 10 on it, it makes us begin to worry about their stance and their political hegemony. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Godfrey. Michael, over to you.
Yeah, great question. And thank you, Godfrey. It was an interesting kind of maturing point for Action SA. We had always, as you say, been the party that said, never, ever shall we ever work with these parties, and we will always work with those parties. And I suppose it was part of growing up that we had to make mistakes and learn, because there's no better example than the municipality in which Godfrey lives, the city of Tshwane, where we came to realize that the coalition that was led by the DA was deeply, deeply flawed. All of the research independently has shown that service delivery was hugely skewed in such a manner that service delivery to the townships had declined over that period of time. Unlike the DA and the Freedom Front, which were coalition partners that had very little vote in the townships of Tshwane, we had considerable support in that particular, in those communities. And we had to make the decision, are we going to stick to our perspective for the sake of, saying that we didn't change our view? Because people who don't change their opinions don't change anything. And from our point of view, when things change, we have to change with them. And as a virtue of the changes that we've made, we now have an Action SA mayor in the city of Tshwane, in our capital, that, quite frankly, regardless of your political views, it is now becoming the objective opinion of most South Africans that that city is now moving forward. It is stabilizing its finances in ways that are categorically provable. It is generating improvements in its governance and auditing systems. And at the same time, service delivery is happening in places where it's quite frankly never happened before. No better example than Godfrey, whose community in Hammanskraal lived without clean water for, about 18 years, people dying of cholera. And if anyone believed that Action SA should cling to coalition partners who continue to lead a government where people in the year 2022 were dying of cholera, then I'm afraid we're not going to make decisions based on loyalties to parties. We need to make decisions based on loyalties to South Africans. And that decision we made in the city of Tshwane has served the residents of that municipality very well. And Thabo, if I may just say another point, I mean, Action SA is not in coalition with the ANC in Johannesburg. The DA has gone out of their way to try and make that point. But let me say this. The only political party in South Africa that is not in coalition with the ANC at one level or another is MK. Every other political party is in coalition with the ANC. And this thing where people want to throw mud on the basis of working with other political parties, we need to grow up, and we need to say that parties in our country must work together. They must put aside their differences, and they must be measured not by who they work with, but what they deliver while working with other political parties in that municipality. Because many of the residents of Tshwane couldn't be happier right now that we are working in that fashion. And quite frankly, the objective should be to share that experience with other places.
And I think the question is not necessarily about working together, whether it's effective or not. It's about your assertion right at the beginning, including at that very famous IEC house in Tshwane, where Mayor Mashaba dismissed the late Jesse Duarte completely. And those lessons of saying never say never, I think they also come with some humble pie that leaders have to eat. And do you find that having had that humble pie, you'll be more reticent of such in the future?
Oh, absolutely. And I think as leaders, we eat humble pie daily. So certainly a big part of our diet. And we've learned that mistake. You must have a look, Thabo, that our involvement in the multi-party charter, which we believe would be a strong vehicle for South Africans to see an alternative, but actually it just turned out to be a political vehicle for the DA to decampaign its own partners, which is all that it was. And, you can imagine going to Action SA structures after the election where that vehicle was basically done in such a way where, the DA went to many of the people in suburban areas who voted for Action SA and said, don't bother, just vote for us. Why buy retail when you can buy wholesale? And many people in townships found us to be toxic by association with the DA by virtue of that arrangement. For us, that was a huge learning, and our structures certainly fed us a lot of humble pie. And that's why now our position is that we will make decisions on coalitions on the merits of the place in question.
And that element of sobriety and being circumspect of such assertions, allow me to ask this. Will you ever join the GNU as Action SA?
Well, Action SA has always said that we will be open to consideration, but we have requirements that we would need to be met before we join. We were invited in June 2024, and we were one of the few parties that said no, thank you. We were invited again during that time of the budget turmoil, and we said again, no, thank you. And that is because we see the GNU as a fundamentally flawed vehicle. It has not agreed to any reforms in our country. And effectively, the only thing they've ever managed to negotiate is who gets what position and what vehicles they will be driven around in, etc. What it has never done is said, this is how we'll change our economy. This is how we will improve our criminal justice system. This is how infrastructure will be improved in our country. Yes. And that this collective of parties, regardless of who leads the portfolio, will work together to achieve that objective. What you've got now is this bizarre dynamic where you've got a multi-party delivery of the status quo that people voted out in the elections of May last year, with the economy worsening, the job crisis deepening, and political parties who want to run around claiming hollow victories in their own departments, like these departments can be halved off from the rest of national government, when in fact, the way a coalition is supposed to work is whether or not your party leads a portfolio, the entire government should be working on an agreed set of reforms that reflect the reforms the country asked for in May last year. And that just simply hasn't happened under this GNU. If there was an appetite to change that, Action SA may be open. But it appears that there is no appetite.
Yeah, let me just quickly take this call and then we'll come back to the conversation. 011-883-0702. Slindile, you are in Kagiso. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. So, I've listened to the answer that is given by the caller who called and asked why they're working with the people that they've swear they're never going to work with them. Now, with the answer that is given, will it bring back my vote? Because that's why I voted for them. Since there's a lot of maturity that they've gone through in working with the ANC, you can't say these people have done this kind of damage in the country, and you have to work with them, and you just simply give a diplomatic answer like that, because my vote is gone, and now they are in government. What do they do with my vote, and why would I vote for them again in that stance? So this answer that he has given, I know he has answered it, but it's not satisfactory to a voter like me who voted for them.
So your basis of voting for them was purely premised on them not working with the ANC at all costs?
Yes, because I wanted something completely different from what the ANC has been done, because other parties were doing the same thing of saying we're not going to vote for this one, we're not going to work with this one, and yet they broke that promise. They too did the same thing. So what's left for me?
Well, he'll answer now. I'm not sure how he's going to give you your vote back, but let's hear his response. Michael?
Yeah, thank you. And I didn't catch the caller's name, but
Slindile.
Slindile. Slindile, thank you. Slindile, I identify with your frustration, and I want to explain why. Because I share the view that what we should have seen in South African politics is all other political parties coming together and finding governance arrangements that can make changes from the failed policies of the ANC, which over the last 31 years have delivered crisis in our country. That's what we would have liked to have seen. Action SA would have availed itself for those kind of governance arrangements. But what we saw in the May 2024 elections is former opposition parties basically stampeding from the opposition benches to give the ANC the majority that the voters denied them in those May elections. Which, if you think about it, and this is the heart of Slindile's frustration, for what it's worth, the frustration that I share, is because the problems we are facing today is not because of the EFF or MK or IFP or any of these parties. It's because of ANC governance of the last 31 years. And I think voters should have more seriously been given consideration for an alternative without the ANC
Yeah.
Uh,
when
you consider the crisis of governance that is taking place and the crisis of service delivery in our country, we didn't think that was the right view. Rather, what we did is we'll take decisions on their merits. We did so in the city of Tshwane, not that far away from Kagiso. And if Slindile can look over the borders to see what is happening in our capital city by virtue of that governance arrangement, my advice would be judge us based on what we deliver.
Yeah.
Don't judge us on who's we working with per se, because delivery is the thing that matters.
Yeah, I just want to come in here, Michael. I'll play a voice note a little bit later, and there was one concern that I'm allowing you to get away with matter more than you should. Remember, this is Hanging Out feature, guys, and the intention of this particular element was to get to know Michael a little bit more. So I would be ordinarily happy to exchange this and that with them. This generally, just to give you an impression if you've just tuned in, on Hanging Out feature, we get to know our guest a little bit more, and we allow them the luxury of having to indulge themselves and express themselves, because we're hanging out. We want to hear more from them. And it is not necessarily an interview where we requested Michael to come through to speak specifically about one Action SA matter. You may raise any of those, but the intention is a little bit different from my end of the stick, in a sense that we're trying to get to know the guy a little bit more. So I'm not allowing him to get away with anything. That's a testament to that is the fact that I'm supposed to be playing one or two of his songs, which you wouldn't do in a current affairs interview, right? So I thought, let me draw that distinction and make that very, very clear that it's not a paid-for interview where Michael says whatever he wants. It's a hanging out feature. Clement does this every other Thursday. We're getting to know him more. So I think let's be very clear on that. 9 minutes to 11 o'clock. Let's go to the voice notes, please, Abel, on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Thabo. Please ask Michael, how do they find somebody as hardworking as the mayor of Tshwane? Do they have like a process in place to identify, these people, or do they stumble on her? Because whatever that they're doing, if they can replicate what the skills that she has, if they can do it for South Africa, then would be on the right track.
And that would be Nasipi Moyo, right? That they're talking about. One of your ace star mayors and activists, right? Leading the Action SA contingent of leaders, Michael. Surely you're proud of her work.
Oh, incredibly. But I've worked with Nasipi since 2014. And in many ways, I was kind of one of the central people who said, you can't be a back office person any longer. You've got a lot to offer South Africa and governance in South Africa. She had always worked in the background as I had as a chief of staff in roles like that. And she's an exceptional human being. I'm very glad she heeded the advice and she accepted the charge that Herman and I gave her to lead that municipality. Because as you can see, the rest is history. But she's an astonishing person. And we pride ourselves in combining excellence and youth. The average age of an Action SA member is actually just 37 years old, which in South African politics is but a babe. So we've got a lot of young people, a lot of very talented people.
She belongs to the youth league.
Key to give them the platform.
Yeah.
Well, in some political parties, you can be 65 and belonging to the youth league. So 37 is very young.
Listen, Michael, please give us a sense of some of the songs you chose. I'm very notorious whenever I'm standing in for Clement that I hardly play music because I'm interested in people saying more, because that's the intention of getting to know more. And Michael knows very well I would have taken him on many of the issues that he has raised. But the intention of this element is to get to know him more. One or two songs songs, Michael? Do you listen to music? People would think you're very serious and you hardly smile and you attack other politicians and you are so fact driven whenever you are speaking. Do you chill and listen to some bit of music? What are your favorite songs?
I do, for what it's worth. I love music. I have so many favorites that I'd hate to try and elevate one above the others. But, I chose 3 songs for the sake of sharing it with this interview that I listen to a lot lately, that I enjoy and I'm in the mood for lately.
Yeah.
If you talk about the genre of classic rock, I love that song by the Traveling Wilburys, End of the Line. It's just a good feel-good song, Friday afternoon, lighting the fire, and want to kind of feel good about life itself. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, let's.
I'm a big lover of jazz.
Of jazz as well.
Okay. Yeah, jazz as well.
Really?
Herman introduced me to jazz, and I've been unable to. No, he did. He's a big jazz.
No, I know, but I mean, I was gonna speak about his piano playing skills, but that's an argument for another day. I'm sure you've seen that video.
Get me in trouble.
Yeah, I want to get you fired. Let's play a bit of End of the Line just for the vibes, Abel.
Well, it's all right, riding around in the breeze. Well, it's all right, if you live the life you please. Well, it's all right, doing the best you can. Well, it's all right, as long as you lend a hand. You can sit around and wait for the phone to ring, waiting for someone to tell you everything. Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring. Well, it's all right, even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's all right, sometimes you gotta be strong. Well, it's all right, as long as you got someone to lay. Well, it's all right, every day is Judgment Day. Maybe somewhere down the road away, at the end of the line, you'll think of me and wonder where I am these days. At the end of the line, maybe somewhere down the road when somebody plays at the end of the line, the Purple Haze. Well, it's all right.
End of the Line, that's the name of the song, Michael Buman's choice. Michael, I loved chatting to you. We should do it some more. And thanks really for indulging us. We wish you and Action SA all the best.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you so much, Thabo.
Michael Buman, National Chairperson of Action SA, 3 minutes to 11 o'clock.
Josie, my Josie, a city made of swag, passion and resilience. Over here, we rise with the sun, Namateksi. We are a city of doers, creators, and believers. When we unite, yonke from corner offices to corner veggie stalls or corner pre-chat and receipt. Josie, my Josie, a city where even those who were not born here are made here. Yabona la, citizenship is awarded to the curious. There's magic and beauty in our city, so we call on everyone to come experience it. Babiza bonke to come see Josie and all its people, because this city is all of us. Come witness our citizens do it. Babiza bonke to come see the actions of the invisibles, those building our city from the ground up, so we have a home we can all proudly call Josie, my Josie. Visit josiemyjosie.com to see how Josie does it.
This Mazda doesn't just start. It wakes up. Anticipation. The wheel settles into your hands. Seat and mirrors adjust. You didn't ask. It just knew. Then the 3.3-liter turbo diesel clears its throat. And suddenly, you're flying, weaving through sunlight. Goosebumps on your commute. The feeling will find you in the Mazda CX-60. Wonder awaits.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers, like Championship Boerewors thick or thin for just $109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for only 150 Rand per kilo. And Energade Sports Drink, a 500ml 6-pack for $64.99. Save 15 Rand. Light the fires, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
After the news, the state of South Africa's politics. But for now, it's 11 o'clock on the dot.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Advocate Terry Mutau says he's confident that those left in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will continue to uncover alleged corruption with the police or within the police service. The commission kicked off its first sitting in Pretoria 2 weeks ago, with now former evidence leader at the time outlining a timeline of events that would frame the inquiry. Speaking on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa this morning, Mutau emphasized the importance of safeguarding the integrity of the investigations. He says despite stepping aside because of administrative issues and budget constraints amongst other concerns, Mutau says he's confident the commission will achieve the desired outcome.
I have confidence in those that are left at the commission. I do not want to create an impression that I'm casting any aspersions on the commission. That's not what I want. My purpose is to explain things that haven't come out yet. For example, the timing of when I decided to leave the commission, which up to this stage, it is assumed that it was a decision that was taken as a sudden decision during the course of evidence being given. And it's not correct.
The Patriotic Alliance and ANC are expected to have a follow-up meeting today to continue discussions regarding Kenny Kunene's reinstatement as Johannesburg Mayoral Committee member. But the talks will now include proposal put forward by both parties on how they can work together in other municipalities like in Ekurhuleni and Tshwane. The follow-up discussions come after the Patriotic Alliance withdrew its threats that its leader Gayton McKenzie will leave the government of national unity should Kunene not be reinstated. Baba Londenza reports.
The Patriotic Alliance says its meeting with the ANC on Tuesday was successful and dealt with issues that affect the Gauteng province and not just Kenny Kunene's reinstatement. Kunene says follow-up discussions will include how the two parties can work together in other municipalities in the province. He says these discussions will happen before the end of the week.
We will then get back to the ANC before Friday on our response to the proposals that are on the table. We are happy with the posture of the ANC.
Kunene also told supporters that the party won't be going ahead with its mass resignation of its elected officials from coalitions, including the GNU. Baba Londenze, Eyewitness News.
There are more calls for government to take action to help secure the release of 7 South African activists intercepted by Israeli forces on board a vessel to deliver aid in Gaza. Israel's foreign ministry says several vessels that form part of the Global Sumud flotilla have been safely stopped and that those aboard were being transferred to an Israeli port. Israel says the flotilla was violating a lawful naval blockade that covers the waters next to Gaza, though it's unclear if the boats had entered that blockade zone. But the activists say the interception is illegal and not an act of defense, but a brazen act of desperation. Clement Manyathela, who is among the activists on the Global Sumud flotilla, recorded a video warning of his alleged abduction by Israeli forces. The African Transformation Movement, Zamantshona, says something has to be done urgently.
We call upon the South African government to take immediate action to secure their unconditional release. We cannot remain passive in the face of such violence and such violations. Therefore, we urge our fellow South Africans to consider a consumer boycott of goods connected to Israel and advocate for a temporal closure of the Israeli embassy in South Africa.
And a judge in the US has thrown out a lawsuit by a man who accused rock band Nirvana of distributing child sexual abuse images. The band has a naked 4-month-old baby on their breakthrough 1991 album, Nevermind. The court tossed out the lawsuit for a second time after finding that no reasonable jury would consider the picture pornographic. Instead, the picture would be likened to a family photo of a nude child who is bathing. Nevermind, which features the hit song Smells Like a Teen Spirit, has sold over 30 million copies. Gold is trading at $3,863.52 an ounce. The rand is at 17.21 to the dollar, 23.20 to the pound, 20.20 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.81 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Houghton, we've got an accident on the M1 South near Houghton Drive. Delays coming out of Glenhove Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South heading towards Midrand. This is between Samred Avenue and Olifantsfontein Road due to another accident scene.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Advocate Terry Mutau says he's confident that those left in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will continue to uncover alleged corruption within the police service.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 11 o'clock. Thanks very much for staying with us. You're on 702. My name is Thabo Sholemashao. I'm in for Clement Manyathela. I'm happy that you were so tuned into the previous hour. On the Hanging Out feature, we were speaking to Michael Beaumont. I should say the T is pronounced Michael Beaumont. He is the national chairperson of Action SA, and he was joining us for the Hanging Out feature. Really appreciate your thoughts, your concerns, and your questions. In this hour, I do need your attention because this is something that we always speak about and that you have raised through various interactions, including in the previous hour, by the way. You raised the state of South African politics. You spoke about corruptions, collisions, and the global trades that are somehow hovering like a dark cloud over us as a country. There's that issue of Tembisa Hospital that the SIU unraveled. But more importantly, the Madlanga Commission is also above us, right, as one of the key topics that is hanging over our heads. I want us to ventilate that, and we've invited some interesting individuals, political analysts, to join us to unravel some of these and to unfold, more importantly, to ventilate various aspects of our politics. Are we headed to the right direction? Does it become a little bit dark before sunrise? Does it become this stormy in our country before we experience an element of calmness? So much is argued to be going wrong, but I'm sure there are things that are going right as well. The kind of leadership that we send to the union buildings to lead all of us as South Africans, and then later on we're coming back and we are crying foul. So this is where I genuinely need your interaction. I need your maximum participation, because in the next few minutes or in the next 50 minutes or so, I genuinely want us to delve into these issues. I want us to get your views, but your understanding as to where the country is going. And you know that this week's political landscape has been dominated by interesting revelations of entrenched corruption, shifting coalition politics, and critical developments in South Africa's international trade. the Madlanga Commission that I referred to a little bit earlier on, continued to expose some shocking evidence of corruption, cartel infiltration, and some shenanigans within the police and broader state structure. So, meanwhile, the Tembisa Hospital scandal also laid bare that 2 billion rand that we spoke about and a high-level political connections. And we did say that some of the individuals who were involved in that big 2 billion rand scandal at Tembisa Hospital are still invoicing the government even today, are still getting contracts from the government today, as you and I speak, are still getting paid from the government, even today, probably from the Department of Health, even today. So they're listening to us and just laughing and thinking, ha ha ha, say whatever you want to say, Thabo. We are doing our thing and we are getting paid for it. So speak all you want. Speak all you want. So those are some of the things that I'd like us to touch on. The government of national unity, is it truly working? As many of the people have said, yeah, this is where we needed to be. Finally, yeah, there'll be someone who's holding everyone else to account. They can't all mess up. They need to be holding each other to account. Is it really working? Is this the model that we want for ourselves? So my guests will join me shortly. It's 10 minutes after 11 o'clock.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Dr. Levi Ndou is political analyst. He's joining us on the line right now. Dr. Ndou, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good morning.
Good morning, Thabo. Good morning to the viewers at home, listeners at home. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time. Professor Tek Kotse, political analyst, also on the line with us. Prof, thanks for your time. Welcome.
Good morning, Thabo. Thanks very much. And it's a pleasure to be with you.
I'm thrilled that you could also make it, Prof. It means the world to me. Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, also political analyst, on joining us on the line. Prof, always great chatting to you. Welcome as well.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I would really from the beginning, I want us to have a conversation. I wouldn't want us to have an interview. I would want us to truly engage on these very important issues. I know that in your line of work, perhaps it's a slice of bread for any other day, but it's concerning many South Africans, the direction that our country is taking. It could be that in the media we are becoming alarmists, and it's your role to say, it's not that bad, Thabo, tone it down a little bit. And I genuinely want us to have a meaningful discussion around where we are going. Where are we going as a country? Let's perhaps kick off with the Madlanga Commission. And yesterday it didn't sit for various reasons. We know the reasons why it was constituted to start off with. But maybe starting with you, Prof. Tek Kotse, is it taking the direction that all of us had anticipated? And to add a little bit more to that, as you are proffering your polemics to the issue, I'm interested in knowing, is this what South Africa needs at this point in time? Prof. Tek Kotse, let's start with you. Morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Yes, this commission is a mouthful to talk about. I've been there now a number of times the past few week or so. And one can see from close by that it's maybe different from what you see on TV. I think, first of all, what we've experienced up to now is the evidence from the one component or the one perspective or the one interest, and that's directly linked to that of General Nkonasi. So those who followed after him were, in a sense, corroborating what he has said or what he claimed to a large extent. That means General Masemola, the National Commissioner, the NPA in KwaZulu-Natal, and now some of the other persons that have also, and now General Kumalu, the head of the crime intelligence. So I think we have to be, first of all, careful, because that we don't regard this now as the full picture, as the landscape of information that the Commission is going to receive. Because it is largely those that are moving close to General Nkonasi, who shares more or less his understanding and his experiences. But those, for example, of General Sabia, the head of the detective services, as well as the minister himself, Senzo Mchunu, those are still in the pipeline. And I guess some others that we don't know about, some of them will even be in camera that we won't be able to hear or see for ourselves. But what I think what the public most possibly want to know is whether what General Nkonazi said on the 6th of July, whether that is indeed correct and true, and that actions must be followed as a result of that. Now, I think at the moment the focus is primarily on that. But if one looks at the terms of reference of the Commission, it goes much wider than that. It goes into also that the Commission must address to what extent the NPA has been implicated, the State Security Agency has been implicated, even the judiciary has been implicated in this. I don't know whether they will have enough time to look at all of this, because this is a massively wide spectrum that they have to cover. And I think if they can, in the end, come to an absolutely clear conclusion about the issues that General Nkonazi raised, and because they are of direct importance for we as the South African society in general, especially in relation to the police, first of all, but secondly also how the executive relates to the police, especially the ministers of police of the past and the current one. And to what extent there is indeed infiltration by the syndicates, the criminal syndicates, into both the police as well as the executive, the ministers. If we can have a clear understanding about that, I think it can serve as a wake-up call for everyone that there is another form of state capture that has evolved. Maybe not as expansive as that of during the Zuma time and the Gupta family, but still very similar in terms of dynamics to those of those years. And if we, with our history and understanding of what the consequences of the state captures were, to make sure that we don't repeat the same mistakes.
Yes.
And I think that in itself will, for me personally, already be a very important contribution.
Yeah. And Dr. Ndo, let me come to you before I bring in Professor Breakfast on the floor here. Please, I would like you to reflect on the very same as far as Madlanga Commission is concerned. But if you were just to carry an extra burden of this question about whether this is the right way of running the country as we are becoming more prone to the culture of commissions in South Africa. This trend, what does it mean? And is it the right way of going about doing things as opposed to having effective systems, especially in the security cluster, to ventilate all these illegal shenanigans that may be purported to have taken place? Dr. Ndo?
Thank you so much. I would love firstly to concur with Prof was indicating that when you look at the developments in the Commission, what we have been able to get now is the side of the story that add to what General Mkhwanazi spoke about in July. And what appears to be very interesting is the fact that after that press briefing, and what he indicated in the commission, it's just an emphasis of what he actually said in July, and he appears to be still standing on his words in terms of what he has actually indicated all this time. My view is that you need to have this kind of commissions and investigations, because we are therefore able to know the extent in which there is wrongdoing in the country, and it also becomes a wake-up call, especially to the men and women of integrity who want to see things being done in a proper manner, to be able to step up and be aware that we have got individuals in this country whom we've put our trust on, but who are actually doing things that are contradictory to what we expect from them. Another area, in my view, that I've been able to pick up from the Commission is that there appears to be a grey line in terms of the responsibilities of those that are politicians and administrators. And my view is that this is influenced by the fact that we seem to have allowed, to a certain extent, an overreach by politicians to venture into administrative activities for quite some time, and we're only raising issues mainly when they start affecting us negatively. I say so because each time when I see political heads in press briefings, making statements and many things, I therefore realize that to a certain extent they appear to be venturing into the administrative side of things, which is exactly where they're not supposed to be. And we've also allowed administrators, or administrators have allowed politicians to venture into their space for quite some time, and they've not been able to be bold enough to inform politicians that this is not where they're supposed to be. If I have to venture into your main question on whether we need to allow corruption or wrong things to happen, unfortunately, we're not there to allow wrong things to happen. What we need to acknowledge is that within the political system, in the administration, and amongst general members of society, we have got people who are corrupt or who have got corrupt minds, and they'll always want to utilize any opportunity available to participate in corrupt activities. And my view is that because we have such, and we also have got those that are given responsibilities to be in the law enforcement agencies, they should also up their game and ensure that they are able to deal with these people and be ahead of these criminals so that we are able to win the fight against corruption. That's why we've got police, that's why we've got law enforcement agencies, but equally, we've got people with wrong minds, and such people should be suppressed using all forms of institutions that are available.
You're on the dialogue. My guest, Dr. Levi Ndo, Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, Professor Tekotse, all political analysts, and we are just reflecting on the state of South Africa's politics right now. And I know that this issue is a bit sensitive to you as a listener, and you always calling in, sending messages through about where the direction that the country is taking. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to send your messages or your voice notes to 011-883-0702. Those are for your calls. 011-883-0702 for your text messages and voice notes to 0727021702. Professor Breakfast, what can South Africans expect from this particular commission, which they didn't get in the previous? Because at times it appears as though these commissions are providing just us with mainly content as the media, and for South Africans, they get the picture, a binary picture of angels, and then on the other side it would be demons. So generally, what can South Africans get from ultimately, and reasonably so, what should they expect? Because it could be that we're expecting way too much, only to be disappointed later and not want any other commission henceforth. Dr. Breakfast?
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much for having me. I think it's quite clear in my view that the previous commission did not achieve its intended objective. Otherwise, we will not be having this one, if that one did achieve its aim, right? So we have this one because that one had gaps. The findings of the previous one, I don't know whether they were put on hold or what, but they were not reduced into practice. So I think people will find comfort if these findings that will emerge out of this platform will be operationalized, whereby we see national consequences, whereby people who have been identified are brought to book, and the necessary political and bureaucratic reforms are rolled out. I think that's what people are looking for, because it's quite clear that the security apparatus or the security architecture has been captured. You know, we are hearing people using political and social capital in pursuit of personal accumulation in order to amass wealth for purposes of upward social mobility. And this is quite sad, because, you know, ordinary people, if they see people who are prominent and certain people who have relationships with the powers that be engaging in rampant corruption like this, I mean, they don't have anyone to look up to. One of the responsibilities that our leaders have is to make sure that they inspire other people, you know, to desire to do good. But when you have people in high places who are doing the exact opposite of what they're supposed to do, that is quite disappointing.
011-883-0702. Thanks for that, Dr. Breakfast. Gentlemen, as you could just imagine, there's so much to go through, and I'm hoping that those opening remarks will then set the scene for us to move a bit quicker on some of the issues that we want to deal with. So later on, I would like us to deal with the coalition politics in the GNU, South Africa-US trade deal, the AGOA matter, and of course, the Tembisa Hospital. I wouldn't let you go without touching on that. But perhaps we should just open with that almost immediately. I would like to hear from you regarding that. Back to you, Dr. Kotse, about the Tembisa Hospital. I mean, revelations that the SIU provided for us, those are very, very serious. And we might have known about them, but they have just, I suppose, been officialized. And a lot of South Africans are wondering and are saying that whilst we knew about this, whilst Babita Deokaran paid a huge price with her life to reveal all of this, are we going to get any justice at all? Or is this going to be swept under the carpet and we'll move on to the next big story? How significant is this Tembisa revelation from the SIU? And will it be business unusual now that it was delivered in front of us by the SIU, Dr. Kotse?
Yes, I think what for me is significant is the presence of the SIU in this. You know, if we look at their track record, it's certainly much better, and there's more consequences than when it is going through the normal investigative process, and then in many instances it never reaches the court even. So, but when the SIU is involved, it's much more focused. They have more manpower or woman power. And they certainly are more specialized in terms of investigating these type of issues. So I expect more. I expect that there's going to be more revelations, and ultimately that there will be consequences in the form of when it goes into the judicial court processes. I think what we have seen is that we have a sort of a champion. Unfortunately, she's not with us anymore. That, in a sense, symbolizes this, and that, from a public point of view, is very important because it gives it a focus which many of the other issues or other corruption cases don't have. So there's this champion element which is there, which I think will drive this case more. I think what the Tembisa situation is part of a much broader process and problem, and that is about the Department of Health in Gauteng in general or on its own. And that's something which is there for many years, and it involves previous MECs for health in Gauteng, and it simply hasn't been resolved. No, it isn't. We saw it at the time of COVID, the COVID-19 pandemic. It returned to Gauteng. So whatever the different politicians and premiers are saying about the quality of their administrations, this is one serious weak point that exists in Gauteng. And I think hopefully and if it can happen, it will serve in very important function. If the Tembisa situation can become a case which can then expand to the rest of the province, because we should not look at Tembisa in isolation.
Yes,
The
yes.
Tembisa hospital is in a sense a reflection of many other similar cases that have not necessarily been investigated yet, but that experience exactly the same problem. And it's not only in the healthcare sector; it involves other areas also, human settlements, and you can name them at provincial level. And also obviously not in Gauteng, but this is now very much focused on Gauteng. So if this can become, I would say, a precedent in terms of how it has been approached and the consequences of that, hopefully that will be the beginning of the counter offense that is very much necessary, starting with Gauteng, but obviously other provinces also. And therefore, it actually sort of zooms in, on what is the role of the provinces in the South African constitutional dispensation and society in general, and to what extent the functions that the provinces are providing are actually optimal in nature, because they receive almost half of the national budget, in the 46%. The national authorities also, and then local authorities, only 10%. Only 10% of the national budget. So I think these are all issues related to the point that what you are talking about now.
Definitely. We're on the dialogue with Dr. Livaindo, Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, and you've just heard the voice of Professor Dirk Kotze, all political analysts. It's exactly 11:30. And when we come back, we will reflect on Tembisa Hospital some more with my guests, and we'll touch on the GNU. For now, Sfiso Zulu standing by with... no, it's actually not Sfiso, it's Mbali Dlamini was standing by with Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning, Mbali. Welcome.
Thanks, Thabo. A very good morning. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on the Israeli government to release South Africans and other nationals detained during the interception of the global Summit flotilla. The flotilla, a convoy of humanitarian vessels, was approaching Gaza to deliver essential aid when it was approached. Israel says the flotilla was violating a lawful naval blockade that covers the waters next to Gaza, but the activists say the interception is illegal and not an act of defense. Advocate Terry Mudau has clarified that his decision to step aside as chief evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission was mainly over budget concerns. Mudau says the budget of 147 million rand allocated to the commission by the Department of Justice is simply not enough for the task at hand. The commission was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa to probe allegations that the criminal justice system has been infiltrated by syndicates. And in Indonesia, rescuers say there are no signs of life under the wreckage of a collapsed school where 59 people are still missing. 13 people have been freed from the debris since rescue efforts began this week. Hundreds of students were inside the two-story Islamic boarding school when it collapsed on Monday. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While travelling on the M1 South, we've got an accident reported in Houghton. It's right near Houghton Drive, causing delays from Glenhove Road. While travelling on the N3 South, bumper-to-bumper traffic between the Kilulis Interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis Interchange, and that's due to roadworks. If you're travelling on the N3 North, do expect more traffic volumes due to more roadworks taking place right near the Baklu turn-off. Delays just as you come out of Marlborough Drive. While heading towards Amalgam, we've got heavy traffic volumes on the M2 West. This is between the Crown Interchange and Main Riff Road. If you're heading towards Amalgam as well via the Crownwood Road, do expect heavy traffic volumes due to an accident reported right after the Soweto Highway bridge, and it's causing heavy traffic volumes as well. That's your last traffic update from me, Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Karabujale will have your next update from the top of the hour onwards. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6. One of the issues that seems to be coming up, well, there are two. The one is privatization and a concern that process, because there's money to be made out of recycling, that those income streams are going to move into, let me just call it, a more corporatized space. That's the one concern, and perhaps you can address that.
The issue of privatization, actually, I think is very misplaced in how it was directed. Pick It Up has absolutely no intention of privatizing landfills. We currently run and operate 4 active landfills. We have absolutely no intention of privatizing our own landfills.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Would you like to come to the 702 launch of Mandy Wiener's new book? Midday Report host Mandy Wiener has written a book about the negotiations that took place between political parties after last year's election, which led to the formation of the Government of National Unity. Her new book is called The Deal. Clement Manyathela will be interviewing Mandy about her latest book on his show on Wednesday, the 8th of October at 10 a.m. Would you like to be part of the studio audience? Would you like to visit 702 and watch Clement interviewing Mandy about her fascinating book? If so, please send us an email to contact@702.co.za. That's contact@702.co.za to be part of the studio audience for Clement's Mandy Wiener book launch interview next week on Wednesday at 10 a.m. 702, let's walk the talk.
Before a masterpiece takes shape, there's a single line that starts it all, until every curve and every angle reflects the clarity of a single vision. And only then does inspiration take its final form. The all-new Audi A5, designed to inspire. Starting from $14,499 per month with a guaranteed future value. Visit audi.co.za or your nearest dealer for more. T's and C's apply.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers, like Championship Boerewors thick or thin for just $109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for only 150 Rand per kilo. And Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar soft drink, 2 liters, 2 for 45 Rand. Save 11 Rand. Light the fire, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
On the next Money Show, Andreas van der Horst, Portfolio Manager at Marzi Asset Management, and Chantal Marks, Head of Equity Research at F&B Wealth and Investments, join us as this week's principals in our investment school. They'll focus on the importance of investing in quality global companies, good for your health and wealth creation. Don Cledum Twentwe, Managing Director, Advantage Advisory, has some big advice for small businesses. Also, see Pumulele Zondi, the latest from the world of tech and gadgets.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA, proud sponsor of South African Auto Week 2025. Your partner in growth, powering a sustainable future together. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
23 minutes to 12 o'clock. Thabo in for Clement. We're together till 12, just a couple of minutes to go. Looking at the state of South Africa, we touched a little bit on the Madlanga Commission. Now we are on the SIU's revelation of Tembisa Hospital's shenanigans, that 2 billion rand that was fraudulently used in procurement. And just a little bit later on, I want to get my guest to speak about coalition politics at the GNU and how that is working out, especially on the backdrop of the Patriotic Alliance that had threatened to pull out of the GNU, but has since went mum. And we played you that clip a little bit earlier on. Feel free to participate on the show because it's your show after all. Send your voice notes to 072 702 1702.
Hi, good morning, man, Mr. Free. Flores here from the beautiful Winelands. Let me tell you, my brother, our police services, our security agencies are too much compromised. And let me tell you, I know it's difficult to really vet each and everyone and do lifestyle audits on each and every security official. But yeah, it is going to take a while. I think until we start sending people, and especially high-profile people, to jail, then when we see start dwindling in our crime. And with regards to the commission, I'm not very hopeful. Not very hopeful. But yeah, let's stay optimistic. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate that voice note. And I'm just going to throw it to you, Professor Breakfast, before I go to Dr. Levi Ndo. That's just generally the sentiment of many South Africans, right? As Professor Tekotse said earlier on, these things are not just happening in the health sphere in Gauteng, they're happening everywhere. And if we were just to try to get a scope of it, I suppose many of us will be shocked if we don't fall flat on our faces. This sentiment, does it really land as a seed on fertile soil of politicians, of leaders who would then feel, Professor Breakfast, that we need to take action, we need to do things differently now? Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Okay. Thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
So I was saying that it's quite clear that our leaders are making commitments that they don't honor. And what is happening is an antithesis of development, because you see people, in my view, who have identified state institutions to amass wealth for themselves, as opposed to using those institutions to promote development for the majority. But the beauty of the kind of democracy that we have is that as citizens, we are also powerful because we hire and we fire. So, I mean, if people can see that the social contract is not being honored, which is the arrangement between citizens and the powers that be, then it is incumbent upon people to vote for other people that they think that are better placed to get the job done. That is extremely important. I don't think that throwing in the towel is the way out, or I don't think that, staying away from the polls is also the way out. I think people need to realize that power, it resides with them. Especially regarding the upcoming local government elections. I mean, if you look at the divide between the haves and the have-nots, that tells you that those that are meant to promote development are not doing what they've been elected for. So I hold a similar view, even myself, that the leaders of this country at different spheres, they are really letting us down. The country is on the back foot.
Dr. Ndo, the modus operandi of these syndicates seems to be similar. Capture government leaders or political leaders and have great relationships with them, sponsor their political party activities, and also make sure that they enjoy some bit of largesse and opulence financially, and then you have them in their pockets, and then you start controlling them thereafter. Is there a silver lining in this very dark cloud? And to what extent, I'm wondering if this is far deeper than we think, and this is just a tip of the iceberg. Is there hope for a South African to think that one day it will be dealt with?
The establishment of the Madlanga Commission was influenced by corruption and political interference in the main. It is exactly the same thing that we have observed with Tembisa Hospital. My view is that it could not only be happening in Tembisa Hospital and with the SAPS. It could be happening elsewhere in many other departments and other state-owned entities. My view is that when you have compromised leaders, when you have got leaders who are comfortable with wrongdoing and participating in corrupt activities, it becomes easy for criminals to befriend them so that they are able to access these state resources in an illegal manner. What we have observed in Tembisa Hospital, it's what is happening with many other institutions. Unfortunately, that has not been found. My view is that the same lines that Advocate Van Rooyen was talking about in terms of responsibilities of administrators and politicians is something that South Africa has to pursue very, very seriously.
Your call has been placed
so
on
that
hold. Please wait.
take responsibility on wrongdoings. And of course, where you have got politicians that will cross the line mainly for the purposes of wrongdoing, we also need to have political parties themselves coming into the picture and also assisting South Africans by ensuring that they develop guidelines that will prevent wrongdoing, but also political parties will be at the forefront of punishing people who are doing wrong things. And unfortunately, we don't see our political parties playing that role.
We're going to come back with you shortly. Dr. Kwatse will kick off with you because I would like us to reflect now on coalition politics. And I just want to know if it's a house that is just about to crumble and fall apart, or the center is still holding. Not even one single party has left the GNU. 15 minutes to 12.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
My purpose is to explain things that haven't come out yet. For example, the timing of when I decided to leave the commission, which up to this stage, it is assumed that it was a decision that was taken as a sudden decision during the course of evidence being given. And it's not correct.
Tell us why.
Bongani, to be able to perform a task of this nature, once government says they have given you a budget of 147 million, it's not a lot of money for a task such as this one.
Advocate Terry Mudau.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
702 indeed. And we were just saying before the break on the dialogue with Dr. Levi Ndo, Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, Professor Tekotse, all political analysts. And we speak about the state of South Africa's politics, corruption, coalitions, and global trade, which we'll jump into in a short while. But first, we wanted to touch a bit on the GNU. Is the center holding, given that no single party has exited the GNU as yet, perhaps never? Or could it be the house that is just about to crumble and the stakes will fall and break? Remember, here in Johannesburg, the matter of Kenny Kunene that we ventilated earlier on the show, where Gayton McKenzie was saying that he will resign on Tuesday. He backtracked. Subsequently mentioning this, that, or the other. But he was very emphatic when he said he will resign, and he's not even afraid of forfeiting his position as the minister because he stands with the people. And he would have been the first minister to resign or the first party to exit the GNU. Just to jog your memory before I go back to my guests, this is what he had said.
Tuesday morning, watch the movie. Tuesday morning,
watch the movie this Tuesday morning after 7 days. I can't come here and publicly and then I word ek weer pap. Then they must have offered me something for me to stay. I'm not that type of a leader. Ek val waar my mense val. Ek staan waar my mense staan. Ek is die type of leader. Julle het te gewoond, julle het leaders wat op die tafel sit en alleen eet op die tafel. I can't expect people to resign, then I still stay there. Tuesday morning, if I don't resign, you must never vote for the PA again. You must never. If I don't resign, the only thing that will make me stay is if his Kenny Kunene is being reinstated.
Well, gentlemen, there you go. I won't even preface that with a question. I'll throw it to all of you directly, starting with Dr. Kotze, and then Professor Kotze and Dr. Ndo and Professor Breakfast.
Yeah, I would start with the GNU in general. I think what the situation for the big parties, and that will be the ANC, the DA, the IFP, and mainly those parties, is that based on the results of last year's election, there are actually very few options specifically for the ANC as alternatives. And the alternatives are the MK party essentially with 14%, because the ANC needs at least 10% or more in order to stay or to have a stabilized coalition. The EFF doesn't have the 10%, so it will be the EFF plus other parties, or then a whole collection of small parties, which will give actually to each and every one of those small parties a type of a veto power, type of a kingmaker role, which will destabilize a national coalition. So in essence, it is that the ANC and the DA are stuck to each other, whether they like it or not. The only option, as I said, really is the MK party, and whether the ANC wants to work with him or not. I think, given the fact, the dynamics of last year's election, it will possibly be their last choice and not one of their first choices. So, although they differ from each other, they have not the option to walk away from each other. And I think the parties know that very well. What is also in the mix is that they can't, for example, the provincial government of unity of KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, is such a flimsy majority government. It has, I think, 1 or 2 seats of a majority, led by the IFP as the premier, and then the ANC and the DA and the National Freedom Party. That if for example, if the DA leaves the government of national unity by choice or being removed by the ANC, the KwaZulu-Natal government will collapse immediately. And I think, despite what some people are saying, that's the one thing that the ANC wants to avoid, because that will put the MK in a government position or part of a coalition, and that's what I would say, at all costs wants to avoid. So these are some of the dynamics. For example, the DA's Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Andrew Whitfield, was removed by President Ramaphosa.
Yes.
It created a sort of a moment of uncertainty. The DA withdrew from the national dialogue as a result of that, but it did not affect the national government. So now the same, we've heard now, we listened now to Clayton McKenzie and the Patriotic Alliance. The report is that they had negotiations with the ANC. They more or less got what they want, apparently, but not necessarily immediately the reinstatement of Kenny Kunene, and that resolved the matter also. I think what we are seeing is that in the absence of agreed upon policy program, like what other coalitions in the world first negotiate before they establish themselves, in the absence of that, we have only the statement of intent of about 8-9 pages. They actually move from crisis to crisis or issue to issue in order to build up a type of a common understanding of where each of these parties stand. And I think what is quite unique is that the ANC, despite their public opposition and criticism of it, they actually allow the DA to play the role of both being part of government and being opposition voice within government.
Sure.
Because the current opposition, the EFF and the DA and the MK party, is not very strong opposition parties. And I think in the process, what we are seeing is that the parties involved in the government of national unity, when you look at opinion polls, are actually benefiting from it. So the government of national unity works for them, except for the ANC. That is the one exception. So I think that's where we stand with the GNU at the moment.
Professor Breakfast, house about to crumble or center is holding?
No. I don't think that the GNU is going to fall apart. I don't think that the coalition partners are going to walk separate ways, because I think they are well aware of what is at stake, despite the fact that the GNU has not done much in terms of my observation on unemployment, poverty. I don't think much has been done on that. But what we have seen is basically, coalition partners trying to outmaneuver each other. Now, let me narrow down now my focus on what we have been talking about regarding the PA vis-a-vis the ANC. Look, when the PA came into being, the assertion that was made by their leader was that they are in politics because of power. And then I thought later on there was a change of heart, because it came across to be committed to the GNU. When he was found wanting regarding the racist statement, he said that even if the president can let go of him, he's not going to throw his toys around. But now he's advancing a different argument. So you can see that this guy is very much concerned about power. But I don't think that it will come down to that, in the sense that I don't think that he's going to walk out of GNU, largely because the ANC is well aware of what is at play, because the ANC of late might have seen they've been trying to open up to invite other possible coalition partners with an aim of weakening the DA, because the DA sometimes, they block the ANC in terms of passing certain legislations and so on. So I think what is going to happen, we've seen Kenny Kunene being sworn in, but I think the straw that broke the camel's back is the position of MEC of Transport, because that position was given to the EFF, and the EFF now doesn't want to give it back to the ANC, which begs the question as to what is it that they want from that position. There must be something.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, there must be something.
Gentlemen, I have to say thanks to all of you. Dr. Ndo, sadly, we lost them a little bit earlier on the line. And thanks to him in absentia. Thanks to you, Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast. Thanks to you, Professor Dekotse. I thoroughly enjoyed our interaction. All the best to you. 3 minutes to 12 o'clock.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
What is the binding vision of South Africa and South Africanness? I think we lost that. We have degenerated into a place where we are nothing more than a transactional space. I say this with tears in my eyes because the potential, whom we could have become, is a distant memory. There are some of us who still feel the fire. We are able to rise above our partisan transactional nonsense that produces people who can steal 2 billion rand.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble.
Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Would you like to come to the 702 launch of Mandy Wiener's new book? Midday Report host Mandy Wiener has written a book about the negotiations that took place between political parties after last year's election, which led to the formation of the Government of National Unity. Her new book is called The Deal. Clement Manyathela will be interviewing Mandy about her latest book on his show on Wednesday, the 8th of October at 10 a.m. Would you like to be part of the studio audience? Would you like to visit 702 and watch Clement interviewing Mandy about her fascinating book? If so, please send us an email to contact@702.co.za. That's contact@702.co.za to be part of the studio audience for Clement's Mandy Wiener book launch interview. Next week on Wednesday at 10 a.m. 702. Let's walk the talk.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Jane Dutton standing in for Mandy Wiener. Jane, good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you. We've been listening to Fikile Mbalula talking about things like ANC members shouldn't rock up outside court supporting their dodgy buddies and their regalia.
Yeah.
And he's also looking forward to the next local election. So we're going to unpick what he said and how he's going to try and improve the image of the ANC. That and a whole lot more. See, we've run out of time to talk about anymore on your show.
It should be a monumental task. But join Jane between 12 and 1 on the Midday Report. Thanks for spending time with us. Have a good one.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon. I'm Bali Dlamini. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on the Israeli government to release South Africans and other nationals detained during the interception of the global the flotilla, a convoy of humanitarian vessels headed to Gaza with essential aid, was intercepted yesterday. Israel says the flotilla was violating a lawful naval blockade that covers the waters next to Gaza, though it's still unclear if the boats had entered that zone. But the activists say the interception is illegal and not an act of